Я подтверждение ситуации передаю на стройку. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, I just got back from Clash Bash. John and I, and Bill, all three of us went. Who were you losers?
I'm Free America.
We were Free America too.
Texas. Were you east or west of the Mississippi?
We're in Texas.
We're Texas.
Oh,
yep.
You're west of the Mississippi.
We're on the Colorado River with the mosquitoes and the heat.
The humidity.
There's fucking no heat here. Snowed here today. Yeah, Paul, I saw you got some snow.
There's no mosquitoes here.
Yep.
All right, so I'm recording the video now. I've got the audio recording. Paul's already finger fucking his 74 over there. I love it.
Yeah, hey, Brian, you might recognize this. This is a model NDS-2.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Tell us the significance of that.
I've had this for a while. It says NDS-2 Nodak Spud LLC.
Mm-hmm.
Edina, Minnesota, USA.
Huh.
Minnesota.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Back in the old days.
I think they're still making them, but I've heard tell it's actually Morrissey that makes all those receivers.
Yeah, I don't know how long I've had this, but it's been more than 10 years.
Looks
well,
good.
They were the only place to go for quite a while.
This is actually my second 74. This
I
one
approve of the paint job.
I tricked this out. I actually pulled this wire folder off of an RPK and put it on this because I wanted an RPK stock. I got one of those AES 10 Bravo paratrooper models like 15 years ago, and it had this on it, but I think it fits better on the 74. I actually have I've got a club foot on my RPK now.
Oh, nice.
And this rail, this is when Jaeger about 10 years ago, he was working with somebody. I don't even remember who the hell it was, but he had a rail for the AK and a rail for the AR that he co-branded.
Oh, was this with Light Fighter?
I don't know if it was with Light Fighter or not. I can't remember. He only did it for a year or two, I think. And I got one of each, one for an AK and one for an AR, and this is that. So.
Well, when you're ready to step up to flavor country on that guy, you have some experience now installing my stuff, if I remember correctly.
I left my shit alone, man. Does
your rails fit on the 74?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Sweet. What are you drinking there,
hey,
Paul?
Brian, you want to hear some truth? Remember when you came and did the whole video thing with us in Salt Lake City?
Yep.
We did a whole bunch of stuff and all that shit. And you didn't put the heat shields in because you said, I know you're going to Duracoat it and all that, right? So somehow, I'm going to blame Jared. Somehow the heat shields got lost.
Oh,
right?
It's not a big deal.
And I moved from Salt Lake to here, and I did all the Duracoating, and Jared's like, I have no idea. I don't know where they are. I can't find them. I'm like, all right, well, fuck it then. But, yeah, so I never did install them.
Well, they do provide, under adverse conditions, about half of the benefit of the lower temperatures than pretty much everybody else. But with the heat shield on, it can be up to 100 Fahrenheit cooler than some other designs out there. So it is an important thing. It's not like a 5% benefit.
Who's doing that, Marty?
Yeah, I'm going to be sharing my screen during the show, Paul. So things that are relevant to what we're talking about, I'll pull them up on the screen. Because like I said, I'm recording the video now too, so we got a video audience as well. So it goes a long way with the conversation. But if I start showing you shit and you don't see it, tell me to turn my fucking screen sharing off, because sometimes I forget to turn it off.
Okay. Yeah, I've got one of. I have one of those plum furniture dealios too.
All right, guys.
There you
Y'all
are.
got me now?
Yep. Give me a audio
Randy
test.
back?
It's a little slow.
You got a little
Bear
slow
with
internet?
me on that.
Are we lagging? Are we lagging to you, Eric?
No, I can hear you pretty well.
Okay. Our voices are matching our actions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Good deal. And John, your camera's still turned around.
What?
We see your shop. Just saw you walk back there and grab your bottle of whiskey.
There it is.
There you go. Now you're
Well, I
in.
couldn't have my guns and I have mags and it would look wrong.
And Brian, you're muted. I don't know if you meant to do that or not.
Yeah, I had to fart a really long time.
Oh, well, that would have been a great
Well, good
sound
for
bite.
you.
That would have been an awesome sound bite. Shit, son. All right, everybody ready to get started?
Yep.
All right,
Sir.
let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. All right, lead heads. We are back with another episode of the Talking Lead AK Korner. This is season 3, episode 10 of 12. So we're winding down season 3, coming to the conclusion, and we've got some awesome shows lined up for you, including this one. We're going to be talking about the AK-74. Had several of you lead heads that have requested that we specifically do a show on the AK-74, and here it is. So you're welcome, and you're even more welcome for the awesome lineup of experts that we have on this show.
Founded in 2012, IWI-US is the USA-based subsidiary of Israel Weapon Industries Limited of Ramat Hasharon, Israel. The IWI-US line of products includes the Tavor X95, the Uzi Pro pistol and SMG, the Galil Ace line of firearms, and the belt-fed Negev line of light machine guns. IWI's mission is to bring the highest quality firearms with real world-proven reliability to the U.S. commercial and law enforcement market. IWI-US are proud sponsors of the Talking Lead AK Korner and the Leadhead Brigade. Check us out at www.iwi.us and on social media under IWI-US.
So if you're not watching the video, Bill, quotes, finger quotes there. If you're not watching the video, we're going to go through here. We're going to introduce all of our guests. And I'm going to start with my co-host, the ever-popular, much anticipated, everybody loves, Brian Keeney with Occam Defense Solutions. Brian,
Don't
welcome
forget
in.
devilishly handsome.
Well, that's going to go later on as we drink more alcohol. We're going to...
Very happy to be here again. We got a really great crew of guests. Real stoked for the conversation here.
Yeah, and we've got a first timer on the AK Korner, and we'll introduce him last. But joining us again is your favorite professor, Mr. Paul Markel, ladies and gentlemen, with his whiskey.
There's a 7.62 by 39 bullet in that glass. You like
Look
that?
at that. I like that. Where did
I
you
know
get that?
it couldn't have been a 5.45. That's too small. But there you go. So, cheers, hippies.
I've got some of those with the 223 round, a 308 round, and a 50 cal round. Got them from Lucky
I
Shot
got this
USA.
as a Christmas gift with a glass AK-47 whiskey decanter.
Oh, nice. That was somebody loved you.
Very nice.
Legit.
Yeah, it was. And then my two partners from Kalash Bash that are joining me. We've got John Houlton with M13 Industries. This is your third time on?
Yeah, third time.
Yeah. First time was at SHOT Show 2019, which that
Yep.
seems forever ago, but that was the last SHOT Show that we had.
Yeah.
And then you were on which episode was that we were on, that we had you on?
I think three or four.
I can't remember what the topic was. I think it was building your own AK, wasn't it?
Yeah, building your own kind of gun, custom built guns.
Yeah. And then he was my taxi at Clash Bash. Appreciate you doing that. That helped me out quite a bit. And then also join us is for the second time is Bandito Bill with Sureshot USA. Bandito, welcome in.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Yes, sir. So we didn't talk much last time you were on about guns. We talked agitprop, but it was a really good show.
Cool. Yeah, it was. Really went into some memories there, and it was very cool to talk to other people about it.
Yeah, it was, and getting your perspective being from China, and then we had Oleg Abashian. Did I say that right, Brian?
Yes, you did.
And he was from the former Soviet Union, and he was one of the agitprop. Was he an artist? He was worked for that department.
An artist.
Yeah, he's actually a propagandist for the Soviets. That was his, and then he was fired because he wasn't an artist in their opinion. And I think his body of work would tend to suggest, listening to a communist about anything and taking their word for it doesn't strike me as wisdom. So
yeah. But that was a really good show. So if you guys didn't get an opportunity to listen to that, go back, check it out. Very educational and eye-opening how other countries shut their people out. Kind of like we're being done here, censored in America these days. Kind of looks and sounds familiar, huh?
Yep.
Crazy.
And then our new guy to the AK Korner. He's been on the show several times, though, so he's not new to you lead heads. We've got our good buddy Eric from IV8888
888888.
Howdy, folks. Thanks
How
for
many
having me.
eights is it? Is it 3 or 4?
It's 4 8s.
It's 4 eights. Okay.
Did we ever talk about the meaning behind that?
It's probably one of the most common questions that we get.
Yeah.
And I promise you, it's pretty boring, the reason. So
Is it a long reason?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a minute to explain, but
Because
it's
reasons.
not what people think it is.
Because Google it and you'll find out what.
Well,
maybe.
yeah.
You've probably told it on this show before. You've probably told our listeners.
Look, you know how back in the day, people when folks were just starting to get their first email addresses, and what is it? It's some activity that you take place in with some arbitrary number attached to it, right? Like that was kind of what people would do. Oh, skater guy 123 or what have you, right? That sort of thing.
Twin fan.
At the time in my life, I guess the deployment was really a huge deal to me at the time, and that was really like the only thing I'd ever done in my life that I felt had any significance to it. So Iraq veteran, and at the time I was really big into Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his number's 88. Well, I chose 88, and that number was taken. So I was like, well, it's just a bunch of arbitrary numbers that only I know what it means. I'll just do 4 8s because screw it, doesn't matter. It's
double up on Earnhardt love.
Yeah, but people were just making accounts, and it was just really random back then.
Yeah.
So
okay,
that's how it came to be. So really, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trolls me every single day because the 4 8s is just his race car number 2 times.
There you go. That's awesome.
That's all it is. That's literally all it is.
It's like looking in the mirror. And John's got he's a motorhead. He's got a racing background.
Yep.
Did you ever do anything with Dale Earnhardt?
I've done most of my racing background is off-road racing because obviously I grew up in Southern California in the deserts and then moved out to Nevada, the deserts. So my background's all in the racing of desert cars.
I got you. So nothing with Dale Earnhardt.
No, we have other drivers, but not them. Not quite as much money involved.
So probably
big dollars in the vehicles, but not as much money to win.
Probably a little known fact that maybe some of our newer lead heads may not know this, but Talking Lead used to sponsor a NASCAR racing truck series truck, and
Nice.
and I think we were the first to get a bullet on a NASCAR. We snuck it by them. Our microphone bullet. They made us take the bullet holes off. We had to take the bullet holes off, and we had to take the flying bullets off the logo. But we snuck the microphone in.
Not
That's gotta
one
be
person.
media friendly.
Not one person is going to say, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yeah.
We're talking about NASCAR, or not one person, huh?
I'm resisting.
I had to be that guy. All right.
Can I just say fuck Joe Biden? Does that work?
Yeah. That worked
Okay,
better.
great. Fuck him 1,000%.
I don't think you'll get any arguments from this crew. Definitely not.
No.
So we're talking AK-74. Last episode, Brian, what was the topic? It was awesome.
I honestly have no
The
earthly
topic was
memory.
awesome.
It was
That's how
Nils.
fast-
It was Nils.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah. Nils is probably, no disrespect to anybody in this conversation, but Nils is a riddle wrapped in an enigma and the most entertaining. He's the most interesting man in the world.
He
Put it
is.
that way.
He definitely fits that definition. But we talked about the Valmet, and he knew anything and everything about the Valmet and then some. And I'm sure we could have had him on this episode too, and he would have known all about the 74 too. But I think we got it covered with this group, definitely, without a doubt.
Oh, for sure. For sure. This is going to be a good one.
Faux show.
Did we talk on this show about the Valmet and how it was the gun that Robin Williams was using in the movie The Survivors?
I don't think so. That's the first I've heard.
Remember, Jerry Reed was an assassin, and he was after him.
Jerry Reed was after Robin Williams.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he was. Then the Survivors. Do you guys remember that? You young kids don't know. 'Cause
Yeah, well, when
you
is
were
this
in
from?
diapers then. You guys were in diapers then, but I was jazzed because I knew what that gun was, man. And Jerry Reed shot him in the gun, and he got mad, and he's like, "No fair, shooting me in the gun," you know, because his gun got messed up. You guys,
Is that a movie or TV show?
movie? Come on,
gonna-
Marty, we're the same age, man. You got to know this stuff.
Well, I
Brian,
don't
you know
remember
what I'm
that
talking about.
movie. You know, I was a big Jerry Reed fan. It's a comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
83.
They were basically, you know, it was Hollywood making fun of the Hayden Lake, Idaho preppers,
Here it is.
the separatists. Yeah.
Oh.
Walter
Yeah.
Matthau. I did see that movie. Yeah, I was thinking it was like a serious movie.
Although I hate to out myself from you there, Professor, but I was 3 when that movie came out.
What?
Yeah.
What
I
year did
wasn't
it come
born
out?
yet.
What year was that?
What year did it come out?
83.
83.
83,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I was old as hell then. I was
realized
9.
you were so young, Keeney.
I was in middle school.
Yeah, I was in high school. I was in high school.
you're a
And
little
I saw
bit
that
older
in the
than
movie
me.
theater. So there you go.
There you go. Interesting
Go to your
fact.
Amazon movies, you children,
I
and
wasn't
watch
alive
that.
yet on this film.
I mean, it looks like he's got all kinds of different. There's a
Yeah, I mean that was the movie poster, obviously, but yeah, that
Uzi.
was the Hollywood swipe at the time, the prepper movement, the survivalist movement out west in Idaho, and so that was their way of making fun of them.
Donald's been fired by his boss's parrot, but he'll survive. He's been robbed with his pants down, but he'll survive. He's been shot at while ordering a cheese Danish, but he'll survive. And now he's armed himself and become a self-made soldier, but he'll survive, even if it kills him.
There you go.
That looks worth watching again, definitely. I have to revisit that one. Good call.
Find this.
But you noticed the Valmet in that at the time, huh?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that it was a Valmet, because back then I used to read, you know, Soldier of Fortune and all those things pretty religiously. That was back when they had a full back page ad, and it had the listings and prices for every kind of rifle you'd ever want: G3, FN, AK, Valmet, you know.
Just catalog
Khalil.
shopping like you're in the Sears catalog, huh?
Yeah, back in the old days. Back when you guys don't remember the good old days of Shotgun News.
I didn't get Shotgun News, no.
Shotgun
I remember
News.
Shotgun News. I ordered a
used to
lot
be
of
able
stuff
to
out of Shotgun News.
Go in
You
the
did?
back of Shotgun News and get World War II and Vietnam surplus, everything. Everything.
Yeah,
At your
J&G
fingertips.
sales,
Pinto
Starco
Mounts.
International, Century,
Yeah.
those guys.
Yes.
Yeah, Samco Global Arms down in Florida, they went out of business. They had
Darco's still in
gondolas of
business.
Swedish M96s that were
Ooh.
beautiful, unissued. They had unissued Persian Mausers you could order out of that thing, man.
Oh my
For
gosh.
$79 for a Persian Mauser.
Yeah.
If you could time travel and go
if you
back.
could tell your young self, if I could tell my 18-year-old self to spend $99 for one of those M1 carbines that was in the barrel at the gun shop, I would have made myself do that.
Bought two.
The ones that are $13.99 now because they're collector's items.
Yeah. When I was a little kid, we used to go in Roses, and they would have entire gondolas full of Mosin Nagants just stuffed into freaking 55-gallon drums. For like, and they were $59.
Oh, this is
$59.
making me depressed.
You're blowing Bill's mind.
I'm becoming depressed.
I remember being 5 years old and walking by a gondola of Mosins in a bin.
That was when America was America.
Damn straight.
I don't know what we
What
are
do you
right
want to
now.
talk about first besides movies and old days?
Well, I love talking about movies, but we want to talk the AK-74. So let's talk the specs of the AK-74. We want to talk the history of the AK-74. We want to talk about the differences between it and obviously the AK-47, the 7.62 by 3.9 round. We want to compare it to the American 5.56 223 round. And
there is no comparison, Marty.
Well,
that's the short answer.
Whether it's good or bad, there's a comparison.
Okay, Mikhail.
It may not hold its water, but so let's do that. Let's start off. Let's talk about some of the history of the AK-74. So we'll start with John. John, what do you know about the history of the AK-74, how it came about?
Well, in my rusty memory, I would say, as I remember it, the AK-74 came about because of the Russians coming across our M16s in the 5.56 round and went, oh, look, more bullets, less weight, more, human casualty, per round. You get when you shoot somebody and they don't die right away. It takes their buddy to carry them off the battlefield. Now you just took two people out of the combat. So, in my opinion, that's why they went to it too, and they followed right along with it, and obviously came out with their 5.45 round, which, from what I have seen of some of the pictures, it seems to be a more gruesome wound channel and damage to a human flesh over our 5.56 rounds.
Eric, what do you want to add to that?
Well, in Afghanistan, they came up with a term for the 7.6 cartridge, and it was a poison bullet. Because everything that it shot, it just decimated it.
Right,
and,
because
that's the nickname that the Afghans had for that cartridge. When
I think it was
Soviets
caused,
were in Afghanistan and they were up against it, that was their nickname for it, was the poison bullet.
What were we going to say,
I
Bill?
think that says a lot about the effectiveness of the cartridge.
I think, with the elongated bullet design and everything, it caused a double wound cavity because of the tumbling effect that it had. And I think that's one of the big reasons there.
I was waiting for somebody to say tumbling.
Add to it, Paul.
Just so you guys know, when we say tumbling, we mean tumbling when the bullet has struck the target, not looping through the air. There were people that were trying to explain to me that the 5.56 was effective because it tumbled, and they thought in their mind brain that it flipped through the air, loop. I'm like, dear God.
So just keyhole everything.
There are people out there. If you say tumbling, they're like, yeah, it tumbles. They're like, no. Now
It's like
they will tumble
buzzsaw.
if they clip a bush or a tree or a limb or
Sure.
something like that.
Yeah.
And actually, there was some surplus. Well, I don't even know if it was surplus. It might have been factory from that company that puts the word bear behind all of their. Brian, you know that company.
Cornell?
That puts bear behind all the names of their ammo. And I was testing. I don't know if it was this gun or the. I think it might have been the purple furniture one. And I actually did get keyholing in cardboard at 25 yards. Because it was not stabilizing the bullet. So, but that's just. But a normal cartridge, kids, It tumbles after it hits the target, not as it's going to the target.
The term we're looking for is yawing. When the
Yaw.
bullet yaws, that is the internal tumbling that we're speaking of here. When you see in those ballistic shell, you look at the terminal ballistics and you see it taking a dip up. That's the yawing effect, which I think is erroneously mentioned. Like people say, "Oh, that's tumbling." It's yawing. It's just a different thing.
Well, down in the South, they call it yawing.
Yawing.
Yeah.
There's some yawing going up on here.
So there was a run of barrels by a company that I won't name in a bunch of 5.45 guns that they built where they were like, 5.56 barrels are really cheap. And that's really close to 5.45. It'll be totally fucking fine.
Oh,
and
they
so
put
there
a lot
are
of tantals.
The tantals, the Polish tantals had that problem.
Tons of tantals. I still run into them to this day. I still run into those guns. They're like, oh man, this gun keyholes and does all sorts of crazy shit. Take a 5.5 or 5.45 round, try to stick it down the barrel. It swallows the whole round. Yep.
It just bounces around in there.
Yep.
Brian,
So,
that takes me back to when there were companies during the initial boom of the black rifle market back in like 05, 06, when all of a sudden everybody had to have one, and they were stamping barrels 5.56, 5.56, 5.56, 5.56, and the chambers weren't though. Some of them were 223 chambers, but everything had to say 5.56 on it, right? Because that's
because
what
it was
people
NATO.
want. It has to say that. A good friend of mine who's departed, Walt Roush, that's when he hit me to the chamber gauge. And he said, if you're going to be in this game, you need to go out and get some chamber gauges, because I know that it says that, but it's not always what it says. It's not always what it says.
No, that's a really big deal with the AK. And John and I actually have a paper with Robert Forbus and Curtis Hallstrom on proper headspace measurement using chamber gauges, because there's just very little understanding of how to do that correctly. And yeah, it does matter. And it's a safety thing. And yeah, a lot of nasty stuff out there. I wish I could say it weren't, but there is.
So back to the history. I think we pretty much nailed why they wanted to come out with a new round other than the 7.62 by 3.9. They still kept the AKMs in service, but was it 74 or 78 when they actually put the 5.45 into service?
74, I think.
Yeah.
74.
And then they adopted it throughout their entire military.
Right, and then the 74M was, I think, like 90 or 91?
Yeah, it came around about 20 or so years later. Definitely. So the 5.45 by 3.9 round, who's got a good grasp of the ballistics on that versus, say, the 7.62 by 3.9? What advantages are they getting by doing that? One, John mentioned, it's lighter weight. They could carry more of it.
Shoots flatter.
Shoots way flatter.
Way flatter. It's not as much. The 7.62, you got to, at really long shots, we notice you have to kind of almost lob it over there. And 5.5, it's a lot flatter. You keep the trajectories more straight.
Yeah, so out to about 300, I can still hold center and get a quote unquote combat effective hits with 5.45.
Yeah.
I think there's also a psychological reason. I believe that they wanted to just say, hey, we can compete with you. Sometimes people may not think that it could just be that simple. I mean, yeah, there's obviously, literal reasons, such as all the reasons we're mentioning here, but yeah. I think there's also a psychological factor in them just wanting.
But don't you think that
us to see
to show they can update as well?
That's right.
Yeah, but don't you think that 7.62 by 3.9 round psychologically had a greater effect against their enemies than a 5.45 or 5.56? There's the sound of that AK.
It certainly has a distinctive sound when it's fired at you.
Yeah. And that 30 caliber round.
That's what I hear.
More penetrating, more knockdown.
Well, I think the significant thing about the 74 is number one, it was developed in secret. It was really super close hold. And it wasn't until our spies spotted them, and it was like a May Soviet victory parade. You know, the Soviets always did the military parades all the time.
Yeah.
It was and I'm not sure what year it was. I'm trying to think, but it was during one of those parades was the first time that they paraded the soldiers out with these 74s. And obviously our spies got photos of it, and they're like, hey, what is this? This is different.
And then I think the CIA paid what, like $5,000 something back then for the first one out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, it was like $5,000 they paid.
Guess they were always expensive. So not just now.
Yeah.
In today's dollars, that would be.
Yeah, and that's back then money.
Yeah.
Well, the Russians ammo or arms manufacturers had to come up with a 21 caliber barrel reamer. Think about it. Everything up to that point was 30 something. 7.62 by 54 by 39 by 25. They
had to change all their machinery. Yeah.
There's you can have anything you want as long as it's 30 caliber. Handgun, rifle, long gun, anything you want as long as it's a 30 caliber. Which was it was a big deal departure for them. So that was, and I think the history is right that they were playing a keep up with the Joneses game when it came to us and the 5.56. Kalashnikov hated it, right? In interviews, he said they were absolutely wrong. Oh yeah, he said that there's nothing wrong with the 7.62 by 39, and they were absolutely wrong. And he knew that they were trying to keep up with the great Satan over here. So
the great Satan.
One aspect of your initial question, Marty, is the internal ballistics, and the recoil, as I understand it, the actual recoil, not the felt recoil, of the 5.45 round is actually lower than 5.56. There's almost no recoil whatsoever to the thing. And so that allows hot shots like Travis Haley to make incredibly fast follow-up shots. So there is a tactical advantage to that with just not needing to put as much ass behind the gun in controlling it and running it.
Yeah.
I think it's more than half more or less than half the recoil energy of the 7.62 by 39.
Oh, and of course that's when we got this too.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
The muzzle brakes.
That's when they started really getting serious about muzzle devices, because most of the old stuff was just a slant brake, and they're like, good enough. Cost 50 cents, good enough.
Yep.
Well,
everyone's right-handed.
Talk about the differences that went into, because basically the operating system's the same thing. They had to change the bolt. What other changes did they have to make? Obviously the magazine.
They got really excited about polymers.
Yeah.
And the 90-degree gas blocks.
Yeah, gas block.
Additionally, the front trunnion is different. There's a process called dimpling, where you bend the metal of the sheet metal receiver into a countersink that's on the trunnion. And on a 47, it's only the rear two rivets that are kind of down next to the mag well that are dimpled. But on the 74, I think it's the frontmost and the rearmost pair are dimpled as well. And that isn't I don't know exactly why that came in then and why they didn't update the AKM accordingly. John, you've built a lot of guns. Have you, I mean, I've seen guns that have a very high round count have the rivets loosen up and need to be retightened occasionally. Not on our guns, but on other ones floating around. Do you think that dimpling is a noteworthy improvement to the design?
I definitely think so. I mean, we will, on our guns that are going to be dedicated, just machine guns, bullet hoses, we'll actually dimple the next one back as well. So it's all six of the holes will be dimpled in the trunnion. just for it does make a difference. I mean, you can dimple one and without any rivets in there and try to pull the trunnion out of the receiver. It's not coming. I mean, I'm not a small guy, and I can yank on the thing as hard as I want. It won't pull out, and it's no rivets, just dimples holding it in place.
Yep.
So it makes it big. That's just that much more area of contact the receiver has with the trunnion. You know, you got the taper, and then as well as the rivet being smashed in there. So it just adds more contact.
Right.
And it for our listeners, it should be noted that the rivets don't actually contain any of the pressure of the round. That's done fully by the trunnion itself. The trunnion is or breech block is a more appropriate term for it, connects the barrel to the bolt. And so all of the pressure from the exploding round is contained there and not in the rivets. What the rivets do on this front trunnion here is just attach it to your shoulder and to the magazine and to the rest of the operating system. But the gun aspect of the gun in terms of holding, putting a bullet out the front end, you don't even need rivets or a receiver to make that happen. All you need is a trunnion, a bolt, and a barrel and a hammer, and the gun will go bang.
Which is, again, they kept the simplicity when they went to the 74. They didn't really add any complications to it. Field stripping, basically the same. Anything different there that you guys can think of that's notable?
No. The only thing I thought was kind of weird was the fact the extractor actually got narrower. It's actually it is more narrow than the 7.62 one, which of course, obviously the back of the case is narrower, but it seemed kind of odd that they would go with a narrower extractor when, they already have the 7.62 one already kind of figured out. I would think they would just kind of keep that same width and everything, but they actually make this little guy a little narrower.
Well, I think, we build on exclusively new kits over here, which is somewhat rare. And I think I have a little bit of a window into that. We probably have one out of every 25 or 30 guns will not cycle well with the extractor that's in it, and we have to swap it out for another one. And so what I think is going on there is that because it's bigger, there's lower pressure pushing it over the rim of the case. And a smaller extractor width, like you're talking about there, would require fewer pounds of force to get, to go into battery. Now, I don't know if that's, that could just be WBP, but that's probably our single biggest failure mode in terms of initial reliability coming out of the gate.
That's a good point.
I go with that.
You made
I
me
know they
take
definitely like
apart.
down the carrier.
Did you take it
The
apart?
carrier is a lot better.
I took mine apart. Yeah.
Hold it up to the camera. Show it. And that's your 74 bolt.
Yeah, mine actually has a serial number on it. Mine has a serial number on the bolt and on the extractor. They're identical.
Yep.
Aren't you
I mean,
fancy?
well, one tiny reason that they might have done that too is just so they wouldn't get them mixed up or something. Maybe they were trying to just keep parts continuity or something. Who knows?
I have heard horror stories that the way cleaning worked in the former Soviet countries was that all the conscripts would throw all of their parts into one bucket, and Oleg would be scraping the bolts, and, Yuri would be doing the firing pins, and then they would just randomly put shit back together later on. And it does kind of inform the non-matching parts kits that are so ubiquitous now. Obviously, that's a super dangerous and bad idea, but it is a theory.
We did that in basic training. When I was at boot camp, before final turn-in for our M16A2s, the drill instructor came out, and this is one of those, we don't talk about this, and it never happened. But he came out with an ammo can filled with a liquid, and we all gave him all of our bolt carrier assemblies, right? And he put them in there, and we left them sit in that magic juice, and then he gave them back, and we wiped them off and put them in our guns so they'd be super clean for final turn-in. There's no possible way we got our own stuff back for the rifle that I was in.
Is that how you did it, too, Eric?
At least with an AR or an M16, they should be swappable by manufacturing technique. With AKs, you don't even have that. Although I agree with you, you know, once the parts have worn in together, probably a real good idea to leave them alone.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference. Well, it's like when people tell you, talk about AKs or ARs, the whole, I have a spare bolt assembly in my pistol grip. That bolt assembly wasn't built for that gun. That bolt assembly was built by who knows? I don't know. But it sure as heck wasn't built for that specific rifle, and it wasn't, you know, it wasn't polished, finished, and fit. But you cannot, you like Brian said, you don't do that with your AK. You don't just, you know.
Well, I think the idea is to get by in a pinch, you know, not meant to.
Yeah, but it'll still run.
Yeah, right. It's just meant to get by in a pinch and then
get them out of off
the
the X, get out of the shit.
Survive.
So I'm holding up a 7.62 by 3.9 and a 5.4 5x3.9, and you can see the difference in size there. So a 22 versus a 30, basically. And look at the casings too, the different size. So much fatter that 7.62 by 3.9 is. So definitely, the ballistic wise, you're going to get different performance out of these. I mean, just obviously by looking at them. But again, the Soviets didn't completely go away from the 7.62 by 3.9. But they did. I guess their go-to, their main is the 5.45 nowadays.
Yes.
That's kind of where they headed.
Oh yeah, the 100, 105. What are they at now? Did they stop at 105?
No. So the newest iteration is the AKV521, and that's the swappable upper receiver with the left side charging system.
You hear that sound?
What is that?
That's Kalashnikov spinning in his grave.
He's like, what?
You wouldn't want it to look like a captain's rifle for sure.
Yeah, they're seeing things like, you know, left side charging on the, you know, nucleal aces and things like that, and I think they're really trying to go for the second round of Ratnik. It feels like.
So this was in 74. This was heavily used in the Afghan war, the Russia-Afghan war, and I think that's where the CIA or whatever was paying $5,000 for recovered AK-74s.
I think to the Mujahideen, right?
Yeah, but it's been used across the world in many skirmishes throughout the world. And I'm trying to pull that up right now. Where
they kept a pretty close hold on them, especially for a long time. They did, and what if we go back historically? You think so? The Soviets, they're working behind the scenes in secret to come up with this AK-74 because it's the new hotness, and they didn't come up with it obviously in '74. It was in the production way before then,
in the '70s.
But yeah. So when what are they doing with their 7.62 by 39s? Well, they're giving them to their little brothers in Southeast Asia, their little brothers in Africa. You know, basically everywhere where the Soviets were starting trouble, whether it was in South America or Central America,
where they've got an interest, they want to help control that.
So they're like, we're going to make you a deal. Here's the deal, comrade, you know, Ramirez in Honduras, Comrade Ramirez in freaking Nicaragua. We're going to give you a Connex box full of these 7.62 by 39 AK rifles, and they spread them around the world like popcorn, man. They were just they showed up obviously all over Africa, and it was the Chinese and the Russians that were dumping.
And that's why you're seeing them, you know, the 7.62 AK on flags of so many countries too, you know.
Absolutely. The Georgian Civil War, these are just some of the wars and skirmishes. The Chechen War, there's Balkan or Batkin, and then all the way up to today, modern day, 2021, the Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan conflict.
Yeah, you're
all
seeing
the
them
stands.
in,
the stands are at
East
war with one
Ukraine
another
as well. Still, with the separatist war going on over there.
Yeah,
I'll tell you something cool. So we were in Tbilisi training there with the Georgians there right before all that crap kicked off, and they had a range set up on the border. And it's weird because in the distance you would see Russian tanks hanging out on the border and everything like that. And you're sitting here about to launch a live RPG. We were doing some range training with them and doing a little bit of co-op training. And we got to shoot their 74s and RPGs and the RPKs and all the random, belt-fed machine guns and stuff. And you're about to launch, an RPG towards this country who obviously, things are about to kick off and go crazy. And it was just such a tense environment being there. It just, you didn't know. You felt like World War III was about to break out. We got wheels up out of Tbilisi. A day later, Russia invaded Tbilisi.
Oh.
And what was cool, we were looking at the guys that were guarding the gate in Tbilisi when we were coming through to get into the base there in Tbilisi. They actually had Bushmaster XM177s that they bought from the United States. They were just regular Bushmasters. They were XM177s with charging handles and semi-auto only. They weren't even machine guns. And then all of the close-in guys running the XM177 Bushmasters on semi, mind you. And then all the other dudes were armed with 74s. So,
interesting.
Pretty cool little story there.
That is a cool little mixture
That's very cool.
of weaponry.
We came close to getting blown up, maybe, who knows. If we would have still been there, I'm sure the Russians wouldn't have been too kind to us.
You talking about the Russo-Georgian War? Right after the Iraq War?
No, I'm talking about Georgia, the breakout region of Tbilisi, Georgia and Tbilisi, the capital city.
Yeah.
Versus the Russians there.
Gotcha.
What year was that? 07? Something like that?
That was 08. Yeah, August 08.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a tense environment. Just figured it'd be worth mentioning.
No, that was a good story. I like that.
You guys mentioned when we were off air, you two guys were talking about when Smith & Wesson did the 5.4 or 5.45 uppers. And I had one of those, and I did an article about it for one of the, I think it's Harris Publications. And it ran great, but the thing was the mags were dedicated mags, and they weren't easy to get, and so on.
That was going to be my question.
But the issue is that back then the reason they did it was because that was the good old days. That's when you were getting ham cans of 76N for $159, $179 for a whole ham can. I mean, I remember I was shooting 5.45 for 13 cents a round.
I went today, just for this show, I went today and I bought some 5.45 by 3.9. I don't have one, but I just went just to have some gun porn for the video. And it was $13 for Tulla ammo.
Which Red Army standard is now.
$20.
$13 for 20 rounds of this stuff.
You put it in a box, send it to me, I'll shoot it up. But
I'll send it to you.
That's why Smith did that.
Or just send me a gun, John.
Back then, it was cheap centerfire ammo. It was, I remember. I mean, I would go, like you guys said, it's so mild shooting that I would go to the range and just literally burn through magazine after magazine after magazine.
Well, you bring up a good I think a good thing that we could cover too is you said Smith & Wesson made an upper for that. What other guns shoot the 5.45 by 3.9?
Well, Adams Arms made one Adams Arms made a dedicated 5.45. They actually made one as a gas gun, as a piston gun. Mm-hmm. Then they got dirty as crap, and they would remind you like, "Hey, this is really super dirty ammo. You need to clean these things." But then you had your Polish Tontals. Those were coming in for like what $399 or something back in the day. They were really inexpensive back in the day. And then the Century guns, and I'm not really. I haven't done a lot of work with the Vepers. Ivy, you probably know more about that than I do. But yeah, those who knew. See, and there was a it was a niche audience who knew that the 545 was super inexpensive. You could get those ham cans all day, every day. It was cheaper than even 7.62, cheaper than 5.56. So it was a good deal.
Going into the store today, that was the only thing they had too, was the 5.45 by 3.9. They didn't have any 7.62 by 3.9 on the shelves at all.
Right, because the amount of 5.45 AKMs in the country is just pales in comparison to all the 7.62 by 3.9 stuff out there.
Yeah, the demand. Well,
that's because Comrade Barry screwed us with that whole 7.6N lie.
That didn't help us at all.
Yeah.
And when you look at the price and everything, to put it in perspective that maybe some of the listeners and viewers might understand as well, is when you look at 22 ammunition now, even the El Cheapo stuff is at least selling for 16, 19 cents a shot right now. That's what 22 ammo is going for. So when you're talking about the value of 5.45, when you buy and stack deep, like at the crazy level where you're buying like maybe a pallet, you might get that cost down to 8 or 9 cents if you're buying it by the pallet. And you're talking 9 cents to shoot a centerfire cartridge that can impact a target at 800 meters out of a good gun. Versus
I'll pay that.
22s as cool as they are. I mean, I think I'd rather have a center fire 5.45 over a round of 22 all day long.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, let's not forget about our friends at Hornady.
VMAX.
Yeah, when Hornady, for a while there, they made a whole butt ton of steel cased ammo when the 3-gun craze hit. You guys remember when 3-gun hit in America and people were consuming ammo like nobody's business? Everybody wanted inexpensive ammo, and Hornady ramped it up, and they were selling 50-round boxes of steel-cased 5.56, 223, 7.62 by 39, and 5.45.
Huh.
You know what? If I think I've got a box of it back there in the gun room.
Run get it. Let's see that.
I'll go get it.
That's a piece of history right there.
You guys keep talking.
That is a piece of history. So I want to ask John.
The cool thing about that round that he's getting too is that it uses a defensive bullet, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. John,
a VMAX.
Yeah. You get a lot of interesting kits and builds and requests and things like that. What other than the 74 that shoots the 5.45 have you gotten in?
I mean, we've done, Ames 74s, obviously, Tantals, the AKSU, the AK-12s, that's pretty much it that we get on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You don't get too many oddball ones
Nothing
anymore.
out of the ordinary.
Yeah, they just can't get the kits in.
Yeah.
Again, they're not making it through.
What about you, Bill? That Sureshot there.
Really, we're just seeing mostly Bulgarian AK-74 kit builds and, Saiga builds and
is that
things like that.
The majority that you're seeing are the Bulgarian ones?
Yeah, that's what really flooded the country towards the end there, before the kits really just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
$99 kit selling for over $1,200 now. So.
Yeah. And Brian,
I mean,
know
at one point it was actually more cost effective to get an AK-12 kit. I feel like.
It's crazy when you look at, like you're mentioning the Sega 12s and everything. I've done a few of those. I've built a few, and they're a lot of fun to do the 922R conversions where you move the trigger group, where it belongs and all that stuff. Like, it's not terribly that big of a deal once you've done it a few times. And I think Ray and I there at Moss, we probably did 922R conversions on I probably converted about 90 or 100 of them while I was there. So I kind of got intimate with like the way the Sega 12 works, and I know this is about 5.45. I don't want to get too far off the subject.
No, that's fine. Go down that road.
I didn't have my Sega 12 up here, but I did bring my Vepr 12, and
nice.
I think the Vepr is a far superior 12 bore in the AK platform over the Sega 12 for sure. I think the difference is kind of night and day actually in terms of the quality of these guns versus the Segas. As cool as they are. Yeah. I think the Vepr is definitely the superior gun of the two.
So you're seeing a lot more reliability out of that, accuracy?
Oh, son of a bitch. You kidding me?
That's your baby. That's your baby.
Damn right it is.
I
It's
like
a great
that.
time. And you get 30-round drums for him. I mean, how cool is that?
I gotta convert mine already.
So you back,
So I
Paul?
got it. I found it.
Okay. Look,
Can you see it?
there it is.
Oh, that's that fancy stuff right
Yeah,
there.
that's the Emax bullet. There you go.
Steel.
Yeah. This was. You used to be able to get this on the shelves of pretty much every sporting goods store, and they had it. They made, and there's the rounds. There
Look
they
at
are.
you.
I've got one unused box of this. Yeah.
That's
See that,
cool.
and I'm wondering if Hornady, because they obviously they're already spun up to do steel case, and they've done it in the past. So with this Russian ammo import crap going on,
Why wouldn't they?
is Hornady, are they staged to spin this back up, or are they just satisfied to sell what they're selling?
They're
We'll see.
idiots if they're
I think
not.
there's so much demand for 5.56 and 2.23 right now that I don't think they're gonna switch over. But I hear there are, I think PSA might be manufacturing by 3.9 in
But
the
why do
US
they need
now.
to switch over? Why can't they just add that to their repertoire?
It's production capacity. I'm
Bean
guessing
counters. All about the bean counters.
the bottom line.
Well, if they can pick up a
Stinking
market
accountants.
that's got a vacuum in it,
That's true.
Hey, Paul. Do you know if the Hornady ammunition is Bird primed or if it's centerfire or it's a regular Bird or a boxer
Oh,
primed?
I think it's
Box or Bird
I'm pretty sure it's throwaway.
Bird.
Yeah, I think it's
See,
Bird.
part of the issue could be that they don't have a very good source of Bird primers. That could be the reason. Right now, they're consuming so many different primers for standard centerfire calibers. It might not be very economical for them to produce that particular ammunition if the Bird primers can't be gotten.
Yeah.
Especially right now with the Russia sanctions and all this mess going on. You can't expect them to get Bird primers. They could probably get them out of South Korea. I think PMC makes Bird primers, but I bet their capacity is probably being taken up on military production right now, so that's probably why.
How you doing? Dwight Settle with Seal One, here to talk about the proper use and application of Seal One CLP Plus. The first time you use Seal One CLP Plus, ideally I would start with a clean firearm. One, you see how easy our product will go on and cover the entire firearm and then wipe off. And then you'll also see that our product will remove more carbon that has been left behind from whatever you've been using. Now it takes about 3 cleanings. I like to say clean shoot, clean shoot, clean shoot for the Seal One to get in and fully penetrate the firearm and remove whatever else you've been using before. The Seal One CLP Plus is safe on all metals, plastics, composites, wood, leather, you name it, it is safe on there. The Seal One will not dry out. The Seal One CLP Plus is a dry lubricant, so you'll want to put it on and wipe it off. You want to wipe off the entire firearm. Seal One CLP Plus comes in a paste, a liquid, an aerosol, and pre-saturated bore patches that are bore-specific sizes. We call those seal skins. To use Seal One, it's very simple, and using Seal One will reduce your cleaning time by over 50% from traditional cleaning methods. All carbon, copper, lead, plastic filing, and shotguns, nothing is sticking and adhering, so it all just gets wiped right off. So all you do is you field strip the firearm, you put it down, and you go piece by piece by piece with covering the entire firearm inside and out with the Seal One. The first time you're using it, I would leave it on for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you come back and you wipe it all off. Seal One CLP Plus is very simple. You do not want to overthink it. It is a dry lubricant and is meant to be used as such. So you'll put it on the entire firearm, inside and out, and then you wipe it off completely. That's all there is to it. Seal One and done. Thank you.
You guys are talking about 223 and how everybody wants it. Have you been watching the boards lately? I subscribe to pretty much every, classic firearms, PMC, and Palmetto. Every day my inbox is filled, And what I do is I use that as basically an industry barometer. And I've noticed now we're living in such an upside down psycho world. You can get 223 cheaper than 9-ball now. That's the psycho world we're living in. We're living in where what something should be worth has nothing to do with anything right now.
What do you see in 223 at?
I saw an ad for 5.56, and it worked out to 39 cents a round. In the exact same ad, they wanted to sell me 50 rounds of ball ammo, 9mm, for 49 cents a shot.
Well, the value is relative to the needs of the end user. So think about it. All right, if I buy 5.56, let's just say the price of 9mm and 5.56, that 9mm has exceeded the cost of 5.56 or whatever, right? Well, but the same guy that might need 9mm to practice with his carry gun and all that type of stuff, you don't need 5.56 ammo to practice with your carry pistol. Whereby 9mm, you're going to have a much greater need for that, because your average person just carrying a Glock around or whatever, they need to practice and shoot a lot more.
Well, that plus all the handguns.
More pistol rounds than they do rifle rounds.
All the handguns that were sold.
Are you assuming that American gun owners practice?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think it's got anything to do with that, guys. I think it's got to do with the amount of handguns that have been sold.
There's a higher demand for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marty's got it.
And not everyone understands to buy, hollow points and everything else too. I know a lot of people that just stock up on FMJ even for their defense guns and home guns and everything like that. Try to tell them different, but price is always an issue.
Price is always an issue. So let's talk about prices. So if somebody's looking to pick up a 74 these days, what can they look to throw down? What kind of Bitcoin they got to spend?
Good luck finding one.
Start finding another avenue of income too.
Get a third job.
Yeah. That's I really hope companies like Palmetto State Armory and stuff like that can really get a mass production AK or 545 AK up and running. That's at least up to some sort of standards.
The last parts kit we bought for a customer, it was an unmatching Bulgarian kit, no furniture, no pistol grip, all jazz. We spent $1,700 to get it.
Just the parts kit.
And just the parts kit. No receiver, no barrel, no furniture, unmatching, not matching anyone.
Unmatching.
Oh my God.
That's psycho world.
What?
I'm at the point now where I'm kind of hoping the Soviets invade Los Angeles, because the battlefield pickups from that are going to be spectacular.
Yeah.
We should just encourage that just so we can get 74s for cheap, right?
Top folding AKs.
I mean, there's not even going to be a battle. They just walk in and it's theirs. There's not going to be any resistance.
They'd have to fight the Crips and the Bloods.
What are you showing, Brian? Yeah. What are you showing?
So I'm
Brian?
showing, I got this 74 kit for $300, matching Bulgarian unissued.
When was this?
This was 2015, 2016.
Oh, okay.
And then the better one,
Brian.
Yeah, no, that's for one of my kids, and the other kid, this is a matching Bulgarian crank.
Ooh.
And I got that in 2018 for I think $1,400, which was a slam and deal back then.
Wow.
Kits are.
Tell me, guns aren't investments.
I feel so dumb. I was scoffing that the kits went up to $500 at one point. Like, I'm not gonna buy anything at this part.
Yeah, you're kicking yourself in the ass.
G3 kits that were out there.
Well, I'm feeling dumb that I didn't get a few hundred at $300 to stash away for the future here, because they are unobtainium right now.
Even
if you could talk to young you, if you go back and talk to.
Don't even need to go back that many years.
Yeah,
the good old.
Hey, you're sitting on a pile of money if you're sitting on a gun that's got an uncut barrel too.
Mm-hmm. OG barrels.
Yeah, because they changed the specs on them where they had to destroy the barrels prior to import, so they changed that up, and that kind of screwed things up a bit. And one of the things that done the parts kits too made life really hard. They used to allow saw kits, a saw cut through the receiver, which is a much cleaner cut on certain parts kits. Then they went through a torch cut, and they had to put a certain amount of torch cuts in the receiver. So the ATF changed their specs on that, then said, oh, you can't bring them in with intact barrels, which, as you know, the barrel is a pressure-containing apparatus for the most part. So the barrel is one of the hardest things to resource, right? Especially when you're talking a barrel that's an odd diameter like the 545. That's why Century ran into such a kerfuffle with the Tantals, because the wrong size bore diameter they were using, because those barrels were so hard to source. And the reason the ATF knew that, and that's why they changed the law, or the government changed the law to make it a lot harder to bring in parts kits that have saw cuts and intact barrels.
Did they actually change a law? Did they go to Congress and get a presidential signature on that? Or did they just issue a memo?
No, I think they just wrote it in somewhere.
They just issued it was an edict from the Crown.
Right.
The
correct.
Crown. Yeah.
Yeah, not a real rulemaking.
It wasn't a law.
A fake rulemaking change. Yeah.
It's not a law.
Right.
No, what I was going to say, Marty, remember last time I was on AK Korner?
Yeah.
And we went to the Q&A session.
Yeah.
And someone's like, where can I get a reliable source of inexpensive Bakelite magazines? And I did a spit take, like no, but just.
And what do they consider inexpensive? What's your definition of inexpensive?
Well, I actually had a trade. Somebody came and they're like, hey, I've got these magazines and I don't have a gun for them, and you want to do some trading? And I was like, he said, I never used them. They're in a box. And I was like, well, what do you have?
He didn't know what they were.
8 Bakelite magazines. So now I've got eight Bakelite magazines.
Yeah, but what'd you give him for them?
Oh, training.
Training? Nice.
Yeah.
Legit.
So free.
No,
You got them
win-win.
free. Free.
My time is not free, hippie.
So we were at Kalash Bash this past weekend in Texas.
Oh, I don't have my badge.
A great event. And there was somebody selling Bakelites there for like $35, $40, $45.
Were they real Bakelites?
They were real Bakelites.
Bakelite colored.
No, they were
Bakelites.
They were real Bakelites. Just from what I didn't see them, but what the guys were telling me were like they were selling real Bakelites for like $45. I was like, you better buy them all. Buy every one of them.
That's a slamming deal. Hey, here's a pop quiz. I've got a Bakelite 74 mag in front here.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if anybody knows what this saw cut is for.
Oh, yeah.
Lay some knowledge on us.
It's for the stripper clip attachment.
For the speed loader.
Yep.
Oh, of
you attach it on there,
course.
so you just slam everything in there.
Oh, I didn't
Thank
tell you, Brian and Marty, when I got the mags, they came in East German magazine pouches with stripper clips and speed loaders.
Oh man!
I didn't quite consider the angle of the stripper clip notch guide and everything. That's great. I wouldn't have known that. My answer was going to be
And there's still on the new
what
ones.
that mark was from the injection mold in order for them to like set everything up and then put it in the injection mold. See, I'm thinking like an engineering standpoint. I'm thinking, okay, well, that would be there as some tool holder or some way for them to mold
like a datum. Totally.
That's right.
Which,
Yeah.
as it happens, you were correct, because it is a datum just for the speed loader. One thing I wanted to show people listening or show people viewing and describe for people listening is that the taper on the 74 case is quite a bit lower than on a 47. And I'm holding up to a Bakelite of each just to make people drool. And
Flexing.
the radius of the banana, it's a much straighter banana on the 74 than the 47. And it's also a solid 2.5 inches shorter for the 74.
Yeah, you can use M16 pouches for these.
Yeah,
you can get away
it's
with M16 pouches with these.
Right. The trick is, if you're running one of those micro rigs, it's just shove some Kydex in between the inserts. That'll help the locking lugs from binding up on each other.
Oh, that's nice. So yeah, here is a 40 rounder in the Bakelite variety for the 74 as well.
Marty had to flex too. He's flexing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the stripper clips for
course, I got these from Brian,
74 are 15 round clips. So you just need 2 of them to top your mag
Nice.
off.
As opposed to a 10-round stripper for 30 cal.
For the normal 7.62 by 39 is 10. Like for the SKS is a 10-rounder.
Can I provide
John's
maybe a tiny speculation as to the difference in the curvature of the magazine?
Let's hear
May I?
it. Let's hear your theory.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, 220 PPC. All right. Anybody familiar with that cartridge? Well, it's a competition type cartridge, and it uses what a lot of people call a square charge. All right. And when you look at the recoil impulse of the 545, it's so buttery smooth. It's like grandma's biscuits. It's awesome. Like, dude, I'm telling you, the recoil impulse of 545, it purrs like a kitten, right? But that square charge lends itself to excellent velocities and really clean burns. And you probably, because of the shoulder angle of the cartridge and the shape of the charge, has a unique characteristic that doesn't require the taper of what a standard 7.62x39 does. So when you take that taper and you draw it out and make it worse over the period of many, many cartridges, that curvature is necessary because the taper of the 30 cal cartridge takes a lot more of a taper. If you stack 5.45s in a mag, you'll notice they almost sort of stack in there like it's almost like putting, I don't know, batteries inside of a remote control. Like they're very square, and they have, as we say in the 220 PPC, a square charge. What does that mean? Square charge. Look at the shape of the round itself. The shoulder, it doesn't have nearly the shoulder angle, so it doesn't need the magazine doesn't need to have that same curvature to it in order to get 30 of them in there compared to the 30 caliber. Look how square it is. It has a very distinct ogive, or the shape of the shoulder angle is very distinct. And being a smaller bore projectile, it has a very unique ogive. That you can get a very long projectile in it, longer than a standard M855, because it's a smaller bore. To get the weight, you've got to be able to get the bullet to be a little bit longer to get the same weight. You get a better ogive and a really good BC. Those projectiles have an excellent ballistic coefficient.
Isn't Ojive still in jail?
That's my
Yeah.
I'm sticking.
No,
he's out. He's out. He's writing books and golfing.
Speaking of books,
Eric, that's something I know very little about in general, and all of that makes a lot of sense. So thank you for dropping the knowledge.
so speaking of books,
I'm not like too wrong on that, but
are you guys familiar
I think we're in there.
with Bob Lee Swagger? The character Bob Lee Swagger, you familiar with the movie Shooter?
Yep.
So he's coming out. He's got there's been a whole book series of those with Stephen Hunter. They just sent me his new books and be coming out in January. And as I'm reading this like right off the bat, I start reading this. I'm going to read this to you. It says, Anzor slithered to the edge of the canopy, and I may not supposed to do this. I may be getting in trouble by reading this, but
Is it not released yet?
no.
The NDA's not up.
No, I didn't sign anything. So, Anzor slithered to the edge of the canopy that covered pumps 18 through 22 and shot the security man in the head. He used a rifle called an AK-74. The 74 designating, as had the previous model's 47, the year it was adopted by Soviet bloc forces. The Soviet bloc has long since disappeared, but the rifles may be found in abundance across the world over. The 74 distributed a 22 caliber bullet at 55 grains, designated the 5.45 by 39, smaller, lighter, faster. I saw your head shake.
It's 41 and it's 60 grains, but okay.
Yeah, it's 60 grains. So we might want to send him a little message. He needs to correct that before they release it. The point is to allow soldiers to carry more man-killing ammunition for the same weight, following the principle adopted in 1966 by the Americans in Vietnam with their M16 round, the 5.56 millimeter. The Nigerian, lost in the nuance of mechanical statistics of perfect gas, did not hear the sound of the shot because the rifle was suppressed. So there's just a little bit. So if you guys want to check this book out when it comes out in January, I'm actually gonna have Stephen Hunter on the show.
That's actually a good point, and you guys were talking about that before the show too, off air. Bill and Eric, was how you can suppress the 545 way better than the 7.62 by 39. There are 7.62 by 39 suppressors. Technically, it's still a pretty loud thing, but that's one of the first things I did with my first 74. Was I actually had a gunsmith at the time, because it was actually a straight bore or a straight muzzle. It was a smooth muzzled gun. Tap it, and I put an adapter on it so I could suppress it with a 5.56 can.
Yep. That's what I do.
But I'm loving it because riders like Stephen Hunter, Jack Carr, they're getting really
Nicholas Orr.
Yeah, they're getting really technical and educating. Of course, we need to help him on his grain weight, but readers about factual information about firearms.
I didn't realize you were a fiction fan, Marty.
I am. I love fiction, man.
Well, have you read the Operator series from Nicholas Orr?
I haven't. I have not.
Well, shame on you. He's a good friend of ours, and so I need to get you. Make a note.
Okay.
I need to get you. Because
my
word is like the word of God. If I say that he has to send you those books, it's going to happen. All right. So,
okay. Who's his main character?
Thomas Thrasher.
Thrasher. I love that.
Thomas Thrasher is his character. So you guys see what I'm doing right now? What am I doing? What am I doing, Keeney?
Hugging your motherfucking AK.
I'm hugging my AK because you know what's coming up.
National Hug Your AK Day.
That's right. October 18th is National Hug Your AK Day.
That's awesome.
Coming up this coming Monday.
Okay.
So I expect every one of you hippies out there listening to post a picture of you hugging your AK, hashtag hug your AK. It's super simple. Even you guys here can remember that, right?
I did it last year. I absolutely did it.
I know
last
you
year.
did, Marty. You're a good guy.
Yeah. I'm going to do it this,
Keeney,
and
you did it last
listeners,
year?
I want our listeners to do
Oh, it's
this.
news.
This
News
is
to me,
gonna.
but it'll be tradition now.
This is
This
gonna
is gonna
drop
be
the
year-
15th.
This is year 10.
10 years
This
of Hug Your AK.
This is the 10th year of National Hug Your AK Day.
Wow.
Does Vepper
Yeah.
count?
You can hug your Vepper. You can hug
There you go, Eric.
a Saiga. You can hug whatever you want, man.
RPK.
Just get the hug.
Galil.
Yeah.
So I just want to say I shot John's AK-12 at Kalash Bash, and that's probably the third 5.45 that I've ever shot. I don't have a lot of experience with the 5.45, but it is the most level shooting, smoothest. We shot it on full auto, semi-auto, and just sick. Just
You
sick
won't find a
flat
more
shooter.
controllable machine gun.
Oh yeah. I would
even my
say that
12K is just a laser beam.
modern Russian soldiers, if you tried to take that away from them and give them a by 39 or a 7.62, they'd probably fight you. They'd stab you with their freaking spring-loaded bayonets.
Yeah, the Spetsnaz.
That's an old man caliber to them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what their grandpas carried, man. They don't carry that's the crap.
That's right. They want
They're
the newest
still,
and
they're
greatest.
still using that 54R though.
It would be like trying to hand a soldier today an M14 and say, "Here you go, pal," and they look at you like you're from Mars.
That thing's heavy. It's got wood on it. They make guns
This
with
is a
wood.
real rifle cartridge. Wow.
All right, so real quick, I want to go around the room because Eric's drinking some sort of brown goodness there, and I saw Paul drinking some brown goodness earlier. What's everybody drinking tonight?
Well, I drank my Brush Creek straight bourbon, and it's gone.
Brush Creek? Okay.
Brush Creek.
What are you sipping on there, Eric? He's
Single
holding
malt Scotch. 18-year-old Glenlivet.
Oh, yes. Very nice. Very nice.
I'm sure my Cal Kalashnikov would roll in his grave if we're not drinking vodka, but
Oh, yeah. I thought about that. The only vodka I have is for cleaning purposes, not for drinking.
And I'm drinking Truly, so suck it.
There you go.
I'm drinking some Tall Girls.
Oh, I feel left out with my water now. So.
Sitting here, I got water. Kirkland's
All right,
finest.
all right. Yeah, Kalashbash crew right here.
oh,
There you go.
my Cal was a real brilliant man, wasn't he? Oh, Kalashnikov.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That man came up with an awesome invention, man. I love AKs. They're awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
AKs are where it's at. I was a diehard AR guy until I started this series 3 years ago because I just wanted to learn more about the AK. And my AKs now outnumber my ARs.
I remember when you told me about that, Marty. It was at a
As it
show.
should be.
Yeah.
We were at a show and you said, "I'm going to start doing this." And I got to correct you from earlier. You said the 2019 shot was the last one we had. Actually, it was January 2020.
You sure?
Yep, positive.
Yeah.
I don't think SHOT Show happened in 2020, did it?
Because everyone was in Vegas and they were like, "There's a weird Chinese virus going around," and of course, all these Asian tourists are walking around Vegas with
It's
masks
2019,
on, you know,
man.
like,
It's 2019. Check it.
Yeah, that was 19.
It's 2019. We didn't do
the last one
2020
we had was 2020.
because 2021 is this year.
No,
This is
2022.
2021. This is 2021. We're in the year 2021 right now. We didn't have it this
But
year, and we didn't have it last year.
When January comes, it becomes a new year, Marty.
I understand that, but we didn't have it in 2021, and we didn't have it in 2020. It's been
Yeah, we did.
It's been.
We've
two
only
times.
missed one shot.
He's right. It was. We did do 2020.
You are right.
Wait, what?
Our,
I thought 2020 was canceled.
No, 2021 was.
The
2020 was there.
pandemic didn't hit until March of 2020.
Yeah, that's when they March 16th they shut Vegas down.
That's true. I stand corrected. Thank you, sir.
We
I
should
accept
be
your
clear
apology.
that the official release of COVID was in March of 2020,
I think
but it was definitely here earlier.
COVID has
Oh,
been
yeah.
here ever since SHOT Show.
Anybody go to SHOT Show 2020?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty was there.
Apparently, I was there.
We got the crud. So
I
I
did
would be
too.
willing to bet anyone who went to SHOT Show 2020, you totally had COVID way back in 2020.
Yep.
Your body has developed immunities to it. Hallelujah. The freaking
Absolutely.
I would take 200,000 years
But-
of evolution, human evolution.
I want
over
to.
anything.
I want to add to that because I think anytime we've ever been to SHOT Show and we've had the SHOT Show crud, it's been COVID because it
So
has
that
always
was-
been
that was
worse
my
than
joke
anything
for a
you've
little
ever
while.
had.
Was that the industry over there stole SHOT Show flu and weaponized it for themselves?
Probably.
That's probably right. Yeah. That is probably correct.
Yeah, because Marty, I sat in with you at 2020 with Frank from
Frank.
who
Frank.
just passed away.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
DeSelma with
Yeah, Frank DeSoma.
yeah.
For POF.
Yeah.
We were in the round table together.
Is me, you, him, and
There.
Keith. Yeah, Keith Garcia.
Hey, Paul, real quick. All right. Quick story about Frank. Well, it's about Frank, but it's mainly about POF. All right. Remember how earlier you guys were talking about, all right, these guys are throwing all these parts in these bins and everything getting all mixed up and they just put it back together, slap it together, whatever. Something cool about POF you guys might not be familiar with is they actually have, like, from point A to point Z in terms of manufacturing process, every single part is individually serialized and serialized to each gun when they build it. Everything down to the bolt, the carrier, the gas block, every major component that can be serial numbered, they serial number it to match the gun, and they fit everything at the factory. So see, that way, with that serial number, they can actually apply manufacturing tolerance where they can go, all right, by this serial number, this was made on this day, by this machine, by this operator, on this batch of stock, and this heat treating process, and they can get everything back to, you know, the very beginning and figure out where exactly everything went down.
That's smart.
But isn't that crazy to think that we look at things so precisely like POF does, and the Russians were just dunking things in barrels? You know? It's a very different environment, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing hodgepodge. Yeah, definitely. Well, let's do this. Unless you guys have anything else to add, I want to go to listener questions now because we got a shit ton of those.
We got one bone left to chew on.
All right,
Marty,
let's do
that
that.
I think is very important,
Let's do that, Brian.
and that's the why, everybody's opinion or fact or whatever on why the gas block switched from 45 to 90.
Okay. And you started off.
Well, then you get the halo effect. I don't want my opinion to color it for folks.
No,
but
well, here's the deal.
I
I don't build guns. I shoot guns, so I'm going to pass that.
Let's start off with John then.
Okay, John, go ahead.
My personal opinion, there is less of the gas port destroying the barrel and the lands and the grooves. At a 45-degree barrel, coming in gas port, you're going to make a larger hole. It's going to be an oval hole versus a 90-degree, which is just a single 100 thousandths hole in there. So it's a smaller damage to the barrel, would be my opinion.
All right.
That's a good one.
I'm guessing speed.
That's a great observation.
I'm
Deliverance
saying
of
ease of
speed.
production.
I'm just thinking deliverance of speed of the gas.
I would say part of the reason might be because of the powder speed, right? Like 545 uses a much faster powder than a standard 7.62 by 39. So maybe because it's small bore, high velocity, there's a lot of heat building up, a lot of pressure. Maybe it was because of the gas port pressure being exerted. They know the amount of pressure being exerted by that faster powder perhaps would be a reason.
I like that.
To change the angle in order to make up for the difference in the speed of the powder as well.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
That's my answer, but more detailed.
Bill, would you hazard an opinion?
Yeah.
To me, I would just think it would also be an ease of production thing, for a more unskilled labor force as well.
To
just drill that
pre-drill the hole, you mean? And then
just pre-drill that single vertical gas port and call it a day.
That's an excellent observation. We're sitting here thinking about all of these crazy technical reasons, and they might have just been thinking, well,
Simplicity.
what? Screw it.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Occam razor theory.
Yeah. There's another theory out there that it's from to prevent bullet shaving or shearing. I don't. That is one.
Is there a correct answer? Is this all just hypothesis?
It's a legitimate question. I have my own ideas about it,
okay.
But I think everybody made good points. So my opinion isn't so important. But thank you, gentlemen, for playing the game.
There you go.
And speaking of games,
that means one of us was right.
I think me and Eric were right. It has to do with
I think
speed.
all three of you were right.
Wait, what do we win?
Yeah, right.
The speed.
Right. All of my Bakelites. Yeah.
All right, so we've got giveaways this episode. We're going to give away some Seal 1 CLP, Seal 1 and Done, sponsors of the Talking Lead AK Korner. We're going to give away a whole package. It's going to have their liquid, it's going to have their paste, it's going to have their pre-soaked bore wipes, and there's some brushes and some rags and stuff like that in it too. So
does it work on AKs, Mark?
It works exceptionally well on AKs because it.
Wow. Does it work on capitalist guns as well?
It works on boat engines. It works on everything. So
wow,
it's good stuff. And we're also going to be giving away from Mission First Tactical our Talking Lead AK Korner logo dump trays, which are also double as, Brian, armorer's trays. They work really good
as machinist trays as well. That's where I have my Talking Lead dump tray. It's right next to one of our CNC machines. We keep all of the little tools that we use to measure the parts while they're in process. So they're very handy. That's that one there, the one with the buck on it.
You got the buck knives one? That's the one you got?
Yep.
So this is the one we had done for NRA that didn't happen. So we've got some of those that we could give away too, but we're going to give away the AK Korner logo ones on the AK Korner. So that's our two giveaways. And Brian, we're going to give some Occam lube away also?
Shit, yeah.
Hell yeah. So we're going to give away some Occam lube as well this episode. So there you go. And those come from listener participation. So when I make post, you comment. You don't actually have to post a question. You just comment. You could win because we just randomly go through here and we pick winners. But I want to read some questions. These aren't necessarily the winners right now. So this one comes from CUEROS machetes. Whatever. Any of you gents care to opine about the future of domestic 5.45 by 3.9? I know Hornady has the black line with a VMAX bullet. Any other sources? I know there are dies. There are dies for its reloaders, but no components. Maybe Brian can ask the lads at Defiant, which I have some Defiant right here, to
throw something else in his lap.
to make some 5.45. So, anybody would like to opine about this?
Like I said earlier, I have heard, from certain people that Palmetto State Armory is trying to get their 5.39 ammo production online, both 7.62 and 5.45. So, really fingers crossed for that.
Very good.
Winchester loads a little bit of steel case too. I don't know if they do anything with the Burdan primers and all, but I know there is some Winchester ammo that is steel case.
Yeah.
I don't know what their capabilities are, but
did they make anything
used to doing
besides pistol calibers, or did they? I know they did their forged 100-round boxes of.
Yeah, I don't know if they did. If Winchester's done any rifle rounds or not. I don't know. I don't think so. I just noticed they had some of the pistol rounds, but maybe they've got some capability.
I remember when nobody was buying that at Walmart 3, 4, 5 years ago. The forged, and they dropped the price
for shit.
And it was like 13 cents a round.
Not so good.
Yeah.
Not their finest hour.
So the void will be filled, I guarantee it, by somebody. Somebody will fill the void. Or somebody's going to figure out a way to keep importing it. They'll circumvent somehow.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's gonna.
We can just bring it in on Haitians.
Well, I've got it on good authority that they're already in the works of circumventing. So, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the same shit coming back in, just through different sources.
I'll just put on a cowboy hat like a Mexican, walk across the border with cases of ammo. They won't stop me.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's an answer. I like that. There's a solution to the problem.
Yeah. Modern problems require modern solutions.
Next question comes from Luis Delgado 49. How well does the 8.1-inch barrel perform compared to the 16.3-inch barrel? I know it's a shorty question, but I can't think of a better one. But I just want to hear y'all answer my question on the podcast. So there you go. You got to listen for us to hear to hear your answer. So hopefully he tunes in. Who wants to take that one? 8.1-inch barrel performance compared to a 16.3-inch barrel.
Well, I don't have either one of those numbers, but what I do have are the two production numbers from our guns. And at 14 and a half pinned and welded up to 16, we get about 2350. And at 10 and a half, we get 2100 or so. So you don't lose that much going from 14 and a half to 10 and a half at all. That's not the big reason to stick with a longer gun.
Okay.
It's stability. And that's the thing with the 5.45 you have to ask yourself is, because it's not the 7.62 by 39, they're totally different cartridges. So when you're talking stability, and there have been hundreds of articles written about barrel length and stability, and I mean there was old guys way back when they're like, anything under 20 inches for a 5.56 is a waste of time, But Colt was making the XM 177s with 12.1 with the freaking super long flash hiders on them, and we killed the shit out of people over in Southeast Asia with those guns, so that obviously worked. But I mean, physics is physics. When you shorten a barrel, you're gonna there's less time for the bullet to spin in the rifling, and that's just the price you pay. Is it worth it? I don't know. You're not going to take a crink out and shoot a freaking, a 1,000-yard match.
It's really all about your use scenarios and really what you want, the firearm for, right?
if you're just using it as a power tool, then.
So this is more of a comment one here. P-Man 301. Who was that handsome devil at the end of the video shooting the AK-12? Well, that was him. That was. We ran into some lead heads at Kalash Bash. So P-Man and Sack Archer were there, and we had a good time. The AK-12 at M13 Industries was my favorite gun to shoot during Kalash Bash. Will these eventually be available here in the States?
Nope.
Nope.
Plain and simple.
Interesting thing, though. We got a load of kits sent to us to be built, and on the side of the receiver, in English, says "Made in Russia." That's kind of weird. And everything else is Skrillex, but on the side it says "Made in Russia."
Huh.
So kind of odd. That's written in English on a primarily Russian gun.
Yep. By Kalashnikov concern. Yep.
That's weird. Why do you think that is?
I must be for. I don't think it's for the U.S. market. It's probably for another English-speaking market. But
yeah, probably somewhere.
Strange. That's on the. I think
Australia.
the 2020 and later.
Australia? Did you say Australia?
Those are Australian exports.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right, Bird Brain Industries. Other than the fact that the AKM rear trunnion used 2 long rivets and the AK-74 rear trunnion used 1 long and 2 short rivets, are they interchangeable?
No. The rivet pattern is different. It's a wider pattern for the 74 over the 47.
Okay, there you go. Straightforward answer. Iron Lord, question for Eric. I was wondering what your experience and opinion on reloading 7.62 by 3.9. I was lucky and got a bunch of Starline brass. Is there one powder over another that you would recommend?
You know, 7.62 by 39 it's a cool little cartridge to reload. You know, there's a lot of bullet choices. You know, the twist on most of your AKs and especially even the SKSs, lends itself quite well to shooting a wide variety of different bullet weights. So there's a lot of, options out there, everything from cast bullets to some of the pulled, ball rounds and things like that, all the way up to, I think most of your, 7.62s will generally stabilize up to about 150 grain bullet, maybe a little bit more. So they do quite well with soft point and, higher performance projectiles. I found a lot of luck with Winchester 296. It is a ball powder. It's not very case position sensitive. It's not temperature sensitive. Doesn't meter quite as well as some of the Vitivori offerings, but you can certainly get into a wide variety of different powder options, and everything. The limitation on 7.62 by 39 is literally just case capacity, how much powder you can put in it and how much pressure the gun can operate at. But generally, it's a really easy cartridge to reload. And it's not really that big of a deal. Make sure you check your primer seating depth and make sure that's up to spec. You don't want to have any primers that are, too tall, because a lot of the floating firing pins on the SKSs and stuff, you probably want to use a mil-spec primer. The CCI 34s, 41s, use a mil-spec primer and check your primer seating depth is probably the most important thing on that.
Knowledge bomb. Quick question for you, I hope. It sounds like you're using 308 bullets, and the AK is technically 310, but what I'm inferring from what you're saying is that the AK doesn't notice particularly that 2,000 decrease in diameter. Is that correct?
You're asking me, Brian?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So they do make 311 projectiles that are specifically, like Hornady has their 311s. You can get some 311 Match Kings, like for instance, that you would reload in your 303 British or something. Or your Mosin again also uses a 311 diameter projectile. So you can load some of those 174 Match Kings up on your 54R and your 303 and things like that. 174 is kind of heavy medicine for an AK, obviously, but there are some 140, 150 grain 311 projectiles that you can get that are a little bit heavier. your nominal bullet weight being around, I guess, 123, whatever, 124 grains, whatever that nominal bullet weight is. But there is a difference. You can load 308 pills and it'll run okay. But you know, it really does prefer the proper bullet, and they make a proper bullet for that reason, you know.
That's amazing. Thank you.
I found one of those receivers.
Big tumble.
Go ahead.
Right there, it says
John.
on it. In Russia.
Yep.
So we switch over to Facebook. Those were from Instagram. Dan L. Americano. I plan to build an AK-74 and 5.56 NATO. I have all the individual parts, only the barrel has to be manufactured accordingly. I have a 224/7 blank available for this. I would like to chamber the barrel in 5.56 NATO or 223 Wild.
Why? Why?
Yeah.
Ammo availability, I guess.
Not if you bought it cheap and stacked it deep.
Anybody got any other opinions on that?
Um,
He's not really asking a question. He's just telling us. So good luck with that. Let us know how it goes. Send pictures.
The one bit of wisdom that I have collected from others is that 5.56, the pressures are massively higher. And so to start with a very small gas port and drill your way up to get it cycling where you want it. Does that jive with your experience, John? Yep.
Oh yeah, they're we see definitely like the Galils. They have a lot smaller gas port than a 545 does by 20,000ths difference.
Mm-hmm.
John, what magazines do you use for the 5.56?
Well, luckily, right now, actually, Arms America has been gotten in a whole bunch of those polymer ones. We've been using those and had actually pretty good luck with them. I mean, if on my choicest ones, we have the Bulgarian, original ones, but those new ones that Arms America got in, we've been locking them up and they've been working just fine.
Is it the same as the Polish barrel mags in 5.56? Is that the same mag?
No, they are different. Let me see. I think I got one. Let me go grab it real quick.
Those barrels are awesome. I mean, after the deal with the Tantals,
yeah, those
Polish barrels were coming in. Oh man, that's like the best 5.56 AK. They're so badass. They're awesome.
And for those listening, Eric is saying the word barrel, but it's spelled Bravo Echo Romeo Yankee Lima.
I'm
like
pronouncing
the
it wrong.
Burl.
No, you're not.
Burl.
You're not pronouncing it wrong. It's just a homophone or whatever you call them. Where
Burl. That's right.
Is he back?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
They're actually WPPs, and we've had them. They've worked actually just fine. I mean, they're obviously no reinforcement, just polymer locking lugs. But I think these things sell for $10, $12. So
for now,
they work just fine.
I'll be.
All right, next question. Matthew Lottie. This question is for Bandito Bill. How did you get your AK-12 to cycle buttery smooth, or is that normal for AK-12? Thanks again for letting me shoot it at Bash.
Everyone was saying earlier, the AK-12 just has a very smooth cycling system, and the person that built mine, Carlos over at CW Gunworks, it was just, I guess he just really took his time on sizing that gas port and just making it right.
Very cool. And Matthew,
Real quick,
damn you for not coming up and letting me know you were there. I don't remember running into Matthew at Clash Bash. This episode of the Talking Lead AK Korner is brought to you in part by Occam Defense. The guys at Occam love the AK, but didn't love burning their hands, getting cut by their pre-sharpened gun, or the lack of options for accessories. After spending a few years in the lab, they've recently released the ODS 1775, which brings the best of the AR family to the Kalashnikov's reliability. It's still an AK under the hood, AK mags, forged Polish AK parts, but with American aerospace manufacturing practices and ingenuity. Check them out at occamdefense.com or on Instagram at Occam Defense Solutions. Go ahead.
Have you guys ever heard of those vodka guns? right? So like you look at a Sega and they call it a vodka gun, where like the gas ports are either misaligned, or in some cases we've actually seen where we pulled the gas blocks off of an S12.
Yeah.
There's no ports. They didn't drill any ports, and we had to drill
built on a Monday.
I've seen a 1-port gun, a 2-port gun, a 3-port gun, 4 ports, no ports, 2 ports. It's just a freaking free for all. Like they just put whatever they want in there.
Whatever they want.
Whatever at the whim of the operator, I suppose.
This is so it's very important, son.
Whatsoever. Just put holes in it.
Very important. You have a qualified Kalashnikov.
That's right. We called them vodka guns anytime we got one that was really off.
So here's another testament to the AK-12 at Kalash Bash or Abplanalp. And that is a real name, by the way. I met him. He was there, and that is his real name. I saw his driver's license. That is his real name, Aura Abplanalp. For John, why did the AK have to be so dang smooth? There you go.
This is.
Because
they work amazingly well.
Because it is.
Yeah, those actually the brake on that AK-12 I think is noticeably better than the 74 brake in a full auto application. I can't feel it in semi-auto mode, but in full auto, I do feel a difference in the two brakes.
I think in semi, I can feel a little where it's it has that more just straight back impulse, where it's really predictable.
Yeah,
I've shot a lot of full auto 74s, and you will not find a smoother AK than a good 74 machine gun. They just, man, they run so smooth. You just get a good cadence going on, and you can just control the ever-loving mess out of them. And that brake, man, is so effective. You just won't find a smoother machine gun than a good 74.
It's probably one of the best improvements they made was that brake. That brake is really nice.
It helps.
Kenneth H. McGee for Eric. Was it more fun melting down an AK or an AR? The meltdown
definitely
king.
AK.
the AK?
Me? Shit. Yeah, I mean, of course it's the AK, because with the AK you get a nice wooden handguard, starts to catch on fire and smoke, and you get to see it smolder like an ugly piece of pallet timber, attached to the end of the gun. It's just,
which took longer to melt down?
Oh, definitely 74. Yeah, 74 ran way longer than 39 for sure.
Nice.
The only thing that ended up killing the 39 was the sealant on the primer. We were running 7.6 ammunition, which has a factory sealant. And that sealant's fine. It's a hard varnish that's designed to keep water intrusion from getting into the cartridges and things like that. And Bird primed ammo also has a much longer shelf life. Bird is intended to be stored a long time over standard boxer primers. So they had a really good thing going on there. But the issue is, as the lacquer began to melt from all of the heat, it found its way into the bolt face, and we actually wound up getting a bunch of lacquer melt its way back into the bolt face, embed itself over the firing pin. And when we took the firing pin apart, we had molten copper and molten lacquer and everything that has just formed this nasty homogeneous goo around the firing pin. And the gun failed to fire because the firing pin was completely coated in hot copper and copper shavings and no telling what else on there. So
that's cool. A big hot ingot of mismatch stuff. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was just everything you ever wanted, just right in there.
So there's several questions on here from listeners. They want to know when Brian and Eric are going to get together and do a meltdown of the ODS 1775.
Whenever you want.
Is that going to happen?
Brian's muted.
Brian, you're muted.
You're muted, Brian.
Thank you. No, I'd love to do that. So whenever Eric is willing and ready, we'd love to send him a gun.
You tell me, we'll do it. We'll
awesome.
Kill him.
Awesome.
We'll kill it. It's not very many people that offer their sacrificial lamb.
I think that would be that would be an awesome video, definitely. Brad Reynolds, and while I'm reading these last couple here, I want you guys to log into Instagram and Facebook and pick our winners. Go through and pick your favorite questions of the ones that are posted. And we're going to go to each of our guests, and we're going to see who your favorites are, and then we're going to do our giveaways based on that.
Oh, shit.
So Brad Reynolds says, why are AK-74 Bakelite mags so much easier to find than AK-47 Bakelite mags? And is that a true statement?
As far as I know, that's quite true. That it's been my experience that it's way easier to find higher quality and cheaper 74 bakes than 47s. I just assume that that's due to where they were at their product life cycle and just how much quantity and production schedules and all that. They don't appear to me to be that different from each other in the way that they're constructed.
And you're seeing that right now as well in the, the current, 5th gen AK mags. It's much easier to get the 545 AK-12 mags, but the AK-15 7.62 mags are almost impossible. I mean, even the 5.56 AK-19 mag is easier to get than those.
I think it just comes down to production numbers. They just, quite frankly, just made way more 74 backlight mags than they did 47s.
Yeah.
So it could just be that simple.
I think you're right. And then along those lines, FPS Murdoch, what is your preferred AK-74 mag? Bakelite, plums, or blacks?
Steel.
Steel,
Oh,
baby.
is that the Romanian? I like those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a couple of those. I love those. But right now, I'm all about the windowed polymer AK-12 mags.
Very nice. And what do those run?
Bill, why do you want the window ones?
It's just easier for me to see, and you can actually pop out the plastic in here, so it's another way of venting debris and everything too.
And also a way for debris to get in, though.
Right. But I've had really good luck with these, and they have the anti-tilt followers in them now, and much lighter. They just feel great. They have a flat on the back for shooting prone as well now.
Oh, cool.
I've got a bunch of old Bulgarian 74 45 rounders with the steel reinforcement and all, and those are nice. And I do like plum mags. I bought a bunch of those Bulgarian plastic mags. I think they were almost like, maybe they were intended as a training magazine, perhaps.
The commercial mags.
They're not constructed with the all metal, feed lips and everything like that, and the reinforced, locking tabs for the magazine, everything like that. They're just poly Bulgarian mags, and you can get them in 7.62 and in the 5.45. But I noticed that if you get to manhandling them too much, they break pretty easy. But those are the ones you could buy for like $6.
Reeves89 Instagram, does anyone offer an AK-74 build class? Which build class would you recommend, 47 or 74? I think you're probably going to
run into more 7.62 gun kits than you will 5.45 kits. So.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's all depending on you finding the kit.
Yeah. If you learn how to build one, you can build the other. They're not that off from each other.
Yeah. I know Mesa Kinetic offers build classes with Vickers sometimes. Rifle Dynamics, I think they might offer some classes from time to time. We've gone over this in other shows. Go back and check out some
of I've taken both of those build classes, and both are very, very, very good. They build the difference between the way Mesa Kinetic builds and the way RD builds is it's extremely different, but both methods are really good. Both sets of instructors are highly competent.
And I think Jim is offering build classes now out of Fuller Phoenix.
Oh, cool.
Nice. Yeah,
that's amazing. One thing that I might maybe add to that a little bit would be that, when you look at the production, like the way guns are made, you look at how much the AR-15 lends itself to parts interchangeability and every little thing being able to be dropped on and changed out really simply. The AK, there might be people listening that are like, well, why would you need a build class on an AK when you don't really hear about many people needing to have some huge dissertation on how to build an AR? The reason is because AKs are hard to build. They're not easy. They require a certain amount of finesse, and you gotta kind of know what you're doing. It's a very exacting process that doesn't lend itself quite as well to the same modularity that the AR has the luxury of being able to use,
Yeah.
Very, very well put. But along with that comes the satisfaction of knowing that you know how to build an AK, or at least the beginning steps of it. But yeah,
it's not
you know,
an easy gun to build. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's not easy.
Kurt Hellstrom is a buddy of mine, and he called me up. He has a small manufacturing outfit out of his own shop, and he called me up to brag that he had built 20 or 30 guns that afternoon. And, you know, we built, you know, a gun, maybe, you know, if you take all of it, maybe we have 15 in whip, but, you know, it takes 4 to 6 hours, man hours, the way that we build. For some people, it takes more, sometimes it takes less, but it's a real amount of time. And you're quite right. It's more like a 1911 to build than it is like an AR.
That's a great comparison, actually. I agree.
Can any of you guys shed some light? No, that's not the one I want to read. Jonathan Gallup, what was the impact of the AK-74 with the Soviets? Was it initially allegedly hated like the M16? Anybody have any knowledge on that, Paul?
I would say, knowing what I know with the conscript army, is that you take what we give you and you shut up about it. And unlike, I mean, that was hardcore Iron Curtain communism then. There was no Facebook for people to bitch about, you know, I don't want to switch from the 1911 to the Beretta because it sucks. And I don't know if there was a Russian guns and ammo magazine, but I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
You know, in the United States, the people who argue the most about changeovers of this gun or that gun generally aren't the troops. It's the people.
Yeah.
You know, someone explained it to me years ago, and they're like, the only people that give a shit about what pistol the Army carries are a few officers and American gun buyers. They said the actual Army doesn't give a shit because most of them don't carry them and most of them don't use them. They said American citizens spend 1,000 times more yakking about which gun is which. And so my opinion, based on what I know from having been in the military and so forth, is that when they switched, they told the soldiers, this is what you're going to use. And they said, "Duh." And they did it. And,
took a swig of vodka. Yeah.
But then the guys, I would say the Spetsnaz guys and the SF guys who had used one and they started using the other, probably when they started using the 74, they're like, nah, you know, serious right there.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever had Sonny Pazikas on your show?
I had him and Jaeger on at the same time, and it was World War 15. Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to do it again when Sonny can afford internet. Yeah.
Oh, we got to get him a satellite. We got to get him a satellite dish up.
I'll have to do it when he's in town. That way he can use my internet. But yeah, I love Sonny. Yeah, he's quite the character. All right, last one we're going to do here. This is Ryan Abbott, Instagram. What do you think the future of the Kalashnikov platform will be in the U.S. now that the majority of imported 7.62x39 and 5.45x39 have been banned? Will the 5.56 AK suffice? Will we see more and more AKs become nothing but dust collector safe queens when ammo dries up? What is the U.S. Kalashnikov industry predicting, planning, etc.? Thanks. So I don't think it's going to dry up because I've been talking with some of the ammo guys, and you know they've already been making plan Bs with, like I said, other countries to get it imported in different ways. So for a short time, you know, I think we'll see a little bit of it, but I think it'll come back.
The Italians are going to amazingly just start making
Italians
metric tons of 7.62.
Yeah, and the Taiwanese.
Yeah, the South Koreans are going to make metric tons of 5.45. Most people that I know that are actual serious shooters, you know, we all have the occasional shooter friends of ours who, you know, they buy 2 boxes at a time when they're going to go shoot. Most people that are dedicated shooters before 2020 happened had a lot of ammo.
Yeah.
Now, like I said earlier, I used to go to the range with a 74, and it was nothing to go through a dozen mags, just because I could and I wanted to. I don't generally do that anymore. A little more self-stingy, but I don't see them going away. I don't see them going away.
What about you other guys? Who wants to field that?
I think the cost of a gun will go up because the U.S. market's going to have to get to actually building all of the little miscellaneous parts, the bullet carrier, the trunnion. I know there's a couple companies that are trying it, but to get really up and making them in a high quality and a high quantity, it's going to take a little bit of time. So I think within 5 years-ish, I think that will happen to where the price will come back down again because,
stabilize.
Which brand do you want again? So you'll be able to pick up and piece together your own kit. You won't have the niche kits of, I want an Ames or I want a Tantal or something like that. You'll just have, hey, it's a 74, pick your gas block, keep your muzzle blank, your barrel, stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it'll come around just fine.
Yeah, the only parts that we're currently sourcing from outside the country are the recoil spring, the trunnion, the bolt, and the bolt carrier, and we're actively working on all of those. And everything else that's on our gun is U.S. made at this point. And, we're a tiny company, and I can absolutely guarantee that within 5 years, as John says, we'll have wide availability of those parts. And the recoil spring, I'm positive they're made in the U.S. I just can't source them at the moment. So yeah, it's on. I don't think the AK is going anywhere. I think it's going to be rising, and I pray that we have an economy in 5 years. That's my much larger concern is us keeping out of being a failed state, not so much whether we can get imports or not. Well, and this is worldwide. Other countries are going through worse pains than we are at the moment.
I just spent $100,000 on solar.
Smart move, sir.
Nice.
Very smart move.
Yeah. So
if I may ask, did you go? What battery technology did you end up going for?
We went with these Samsung batteries. They're like a high yield lithium ion, that very, very capable battery. And
Very cool.
Each of these batteries, I mean, these sons of bitches are like 25,000 freaking bucks. So you can daisy chain them together in an array and get a lot more capability of what you can capture. But, the cost of the batteries is pretty considerable. We're going with, I believe it's Samsung, either Samsung or Samsung company that does the actual panels. And each of the panels is set up on its own different, I guess it's got its own breaker box or whatever they call it. Whatever the technical term is. If one panel goes out, you can just replace that one panel instead of the entire array being down or whatever. So Georgia has some really stupid laws. You can only have 32 panels as a maximum right now in Georgia until they change the law. So we're not at a complete 1-to-1 on solar.
Why
we're
would they
probably be producing about 75% of our electricity on site?
Why would they limit?
That's excellent.
What's that?
I said, why would they limit that?
They limit it because of all of the lobbyists in Washington that, the power companies send lobbyists to Washington to lobby this and that. And, of course they're going to have some arbitrary number that they give you because they don't want you to be independent of their system. They want you to rely on buying their electricity. They don't want you to have to get off the grid.
Same reason they squelched Tesla and ruined Tesla. Yeah. Very good. Anybody else have a
reservation?
Yeah. Anybody else have a prediction on what's to come with the AK market here in America?
I think we're really going to see, the American manufacturer come online to meet that demand. Like John said, in the next 5 years, because we also have some things in the pipeline, in the works.
Awesome. Marty, one thing that I'll just add. So after what everybody said about, let's just say the availability of AKs in the U.S. and the manufacturing issues that we're dealing with and everything, the only thing that I would really add to that overall would be that, you'll probably see the issue becomes, all right, at the cost, the money that it takes to build a good quality AK, right? it takes a lot of money to build something good, right? The question is, will the U.S. consumer associate the value with what American quality can be with the value of a similarly priced AR platform that arguably outperforms, obviously, an AK?
Sure.
Or none, right? So now the question is going to be whether or not the American manufacturing can make an AK that marvels the price of the AR. So if they can produce an AK that is of good quality, of what would be indicative of a quality AK for less money than some of the other similarly priced items that would be much higher quality, well, then there you go. It's like, why buy a Mini 14 when you can buy an AR?
Right.
Think about what a Mini 14 costs. All right. Mini 14 is a cool gun, but it's also not an AR. I mean, like at the end of the line, you get down to Eugene Stoner here. I mean, that's hard to beat that Master, especially when it's mass produced at such a fair price.
Yeah. Well, that's what it'll boil down to. But again, do you want quality or do you want affordability? And that's what it's going to boil down. And are the manufacturers going to want to go that route?
I think that the consumer will associate a value with a high quality AK variant, even if it costs a little bit more, as long as they know they're getting a genuine article that's made well by American craftsmen and done to honor the traditions of the original Russian units. Absolutely. I think people will pay premium to have something that's made well in America.
Is that true, Brian?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've answered that question. Most of my customers are AR shooters who understand that the AR platform has gone about as far as it can, and that's not an insult. It's an amazing platform, but the AK does some things that the AR can't do, and so there's a lot of AR shooters out there who are fine spending money, but they don't want to have to deal with trailer park accessories. And so, and also pre-sharpened guns and guns that don't work well out of the box. Like, the Wasser can be a great gun. It can be really, really good. But people do some work to them to get them really up there. And so to have something that's high quality out of the box with a good coat of paint on it, made by Americans, it absolutely sells. We don't have any problem there. So I think you're entirely right, and I hope to see more competition there. The idea that, there's a lot of people who I don't even sell to who think that an AK should cost $700. And I'll tell you what you get for $700, and it's not the same. There's no way that you can get an American-built AK at $700 that has the required number of man hours into it to make it really good.
Well, what you get is a Tantal with a 5.56 barrel. That's what you get.
$700.
That's good though, because the bullets tumble and it makes them more effective.
There you go. There you go.
Out of the barrel.
Don't get me started.
Oh man.
All right, so let's go. Let's pick some winners now. Let's go to Facebook, Instagram, and who's there? Who's on Facebook or Instagram right now?
I'm on Instagram.
Okay, Bill, scan through there. We're going to give away the SEAL 1 package to the person you pick.
I'll go with that Cerno's machete guy that asked, what is it? Any of you gents care to opine about the future of domestic 545 by 39?
Okay.
Because I think that is a pretty important question and to answer.
Yeah. And what was his name?
I got it right here. Yep.
It's Serenos Y Machetes. So you're the winner of the SEAL 1 package. Shoot me an email, talkinglead@gmail.com, and put in the subject that you're the winner on this episode, Season 3, Episode 10, and what you won. And I'll also need your address if you want to get it. So.
Oh, I just understood what his username is.
Yeah,
it's Serenos y Machetes. It's a southern Mexican gang and machetes. Yeah.
Yeah, or they say Sereno de Chivo, which is goat of the horn, is what they call AKs down in Mexico. Or horn of the goat. I just went dyslexic there for a second.
All right. Who else is on there? You on there, John?
Yeah. Well, I was on Facebook.
Facebook. Okay, that's fine.
I flipped to Facebook. So I'm going to pick, of course, because mentions my gun.
Okay.
What makes the AK-12 shoot so damn smooth? I'm going to murder your name, so I'm sorry for doing it.
No.
It's ORA. Second part is ABPALANALP. Not even trying to pronounce it.
Aura Abflanap, and he was at Kalash Bash. He is a longtime listener, and he and Pierce. So Aura, you're going to win the dump tray. So talkinglead@gmail.com. Shoot me an email, and you win the Mission First Tactical dump tray. We're actually going to give 2 of these away this episode. So
Aura is also a customer of mine and a real good dude. I have it on good authority that he is very polite to women. So always unfortunately, I can't say that about every single customer we get, but
he is very polite to everyone.
There it is.
He's a very nice dude, very smart dude, knows his guns. It was a pleasure meeting and hanging out with him at Kalash Bash. So Aura, talkinglead@gmail.com. You know the routine. Shoot me the email, and you get the Mission First tray.
Something y'all do every year is the Kalash Bash.
Yeah.
Kalash Bash is its 3rd year. This is its 3rd year. It's the first time I've been there. And big thanks to IWI for making it possible for me to get out there and take part in this. Sponsors of the Talking Lead AK Korner. Jeremy and their team were doing some competition shooting. It's a competition shoot's what it is. But then they also have vendors and everything set up, and people can come and spectate and take part. There's other shooting competitions that are set up just for the people attending to win prizes. I don't know how many guns they gave away, John. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. A ton.
I was talking to Hector, and they said it was like 20 something or something crazy.
Yeah, I know John had a gun up. Did you guys have a gun up too? Sureshot? Did you guys give away a gun?
No, we had Mark III chassis and some other products.
That's right. Yeah. But the awesome prize table, not just for the people competing, but also for the people that were just attending.
Yep.
It was amazing. So big kudos to the guys at Kalash Bash for putting that on.
Yep.
So
and Tony and Rachel.
Next tray, let's let Eric pick the next winner.
All right. Well, I can't pick a winner because I don't have a Facebook page anymore, so I can't read the comments. So,
okay. How about IG?
Well, I'm scrolling through IG. I'm not really seeing you mean out of all the questions that were asked tonight? Is that what you're referring to?
Just go to my Talking Leads page, and that post that I did says post your questions now.
Yep, I'm looking through.
Yeah, so
just go on to the next guy. Let me look again. I was so enthralled in the conversation I wasn't looking.
Okay, that's fine.
Go to the next man, and
let's do some Occam lube, Brian.
There's a gent on Talking Lead, Ray O'Shields. Which caliber would be better in a 10-inch barreled version? I think that's a really clever question that we didn't directly answer. My personal fave in a 10-inch would be 30 cal, and let's give him some Occam lube.
Very good. Ray O'Shields, you are the winner of the Occam lube. TalkingLead@gmail.com. Let me know which one and your address.
I've got a great question here. All right, I'd love to answer this question.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. This one goes to Austin Whalen. He's asking AK-47 or AK-74, which one would y'all, he spelled y'all
Texas.
Right? Which one would y'all choose to hunt with? What a great question. Because I've killed a lot of critters with 7.62 by 39. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, it is one of my favorite hog hunting rounds. And I know there's a lot of folks out there that might say, hey, maybe a 308 or something, larger, but I love killing the crap out of pigs with that cartridge. It's great. I've got a CMMG Mutant and use a thermal, and we'll go out and we'll sneak up on these hogs, and we'll get up on a line. I run a Nestian 6 suppressor on my Mutant, and what we'll do, we'll creep in and get up on the line and count down, and we'll just start to laying in those freaking hogs with that, and I use the Mutant, and I run the 154 grain soft points, from Wolf. I think Wolf and Tula had 154 grain soft point load.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of testing with that particular cartridge. And Buddy, does it absolutely slay critters.
Takes down
You can
hogs.
kill deer with it. You can kill hogs with it. I've shot coyotes with it. I've shot foxes with it. You know, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great.
And for
Now,
larger
that being
game,
said-
I would say use the 30 cal definitely for the larger game.
Well, now, okay, does that mean that 5.45 doesn't have a use? Well, heck yeah, it's got a use, right? You know, you take a good 16-inch gun that you can trust well, put a good optic on it, you know, whatever. Or even like you go with RS Regulate and do like one of those nice scope mounts that he makes there, and then run you a thermal on that. You can absolutely treat a 74 in the same way we would treat an AR all day long, right? Guys will take an AR, they'll put the thermal on it, suppressor, and they'll go out and hunt coyotes and foxes at night and stuff. You can totally use a 5.45 as a varmint gun.
Great
Absolutely.
coyote slayer. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. Anybody else have an opinion on that?
Nope.
Gonna leave it at that. So I've got to give Eric kudos also because prior to Clash Bash, we went to the IV88 range day. You don't call it YouTube shooting anymore. It's range day, right?
It's just range day.
It's just range day now.
It's
And
just a dang old range day.
what an awesome event. 2 times this year you put them on. Put on 2 events, and they were both very well attended, very well put on, and you guys do a great job organizing that, especially with the amount of ammo that's shot during those things. How many rounds did you figure out?
We came up with a figure about 220,000 rounds of ammunition were fired that day, and 17,000 rounds of it in the first 20 minutes.
In the first 20 minutes.
In the first 20 minutes. So
Did you-
yeah,
did you start
I appreciate
bad
you
one?
coming, Marty, and hanging out. It's always a lot of fun. The reason we did 2 shoots this year, real quick, was because of COVID last year. There's a lot of travel restrictions and bullcrap going on. So we ended up having to postpone the shoot from 2020, and we made that up in the springtime, and then had our normal shoot here in the winter, in October. So we won't have the shoot again until this same time next year. So if any of you guys want to come, Bill, John, Brian, Paul, you guys just let me know, and we'll run some AKs. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
It's a great event. It's very well covered. So guys, definitely, if he's offering an opportunity for you guys to attend, I would take him up on it
I'm there.
without hesitation. No doubt about it. But I always look forward to it. I've been since the very first one, and I appreciate you guys having us each and every year. I did miss the one where you had it a little bit further down. Was it in Fleming where you had it, I think?
That was down in Blakely, Georgia.
Blake.
Down at this big old training center. They've got an unknown distance range down there. It's 2,900 yards. in Blakely.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They got demolition ranges. You can they have guys come out there and blow up bombs and all kind of cool stuff. It's neat.
Yeah. Well, where you have it is awesome. I love it at the Red Hill range. It's a great, for that event, it's perfect. You can't beat it. And the caters, the food that you guys have there is always awesome. So kudos to that. But overall, I mean, you guys just do a really good job. And each year it gets better and better, and there's something new, and you're always improving it. So kudos to you guys on that. So I look forward to next October.
Thank you, Marty. And we also had the youngest gun YouTuber
Oh, gosh, yeah, I saw her.
ever. Right.
How old was
so
she?
Autumn's Armory. If you guys never heard of her, she's 8 years old. She's an 8-year-old gun YouTuber.
And she is a ham. She is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like a lot of fun. Check her out. Yeah.
All right.
Pretty cool.
What was that name again?
Autumn's Armory.
Oh, okay, cool.
Go on Instagram, you'll see her.
All right.
She's such a little turd. It really is. I mean, she was running around with Halloween candy at range day, giving it to everybody. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it was a good time. So you never know who you're going to see.
She was setting off our cannon. It was so cool, man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on and leducate our lead heads. Talking Lead. Since 2012, we've been leducating the uneducated. And that's from great guests like yourselves. Professor Paul, short notice, and I really appreciate you jumping on with us.
Hey, don't forget to hug your AK. Take pictures. That's right.
18th.
The 18th, Monday, October 18th is National Hug Your AK Day. So
that's
I
right.
expect everybody to participate.
This show's dropping the 15th, so they got no excuse. So
That's right.
And tag Paul, tag Talking Lead, tag IV8888, tag Bandito Bill, tag M13, tag Occam Defense when you hug on those AK.
Tag Student of the Gun, not Paul. Paul, I don't have a.
Do you not have one?
I do, but I don't use it. So tag Student of the Gun. That's the important thing.
We will be doing a giveaway for that event, so definitely tag us. That's how we're going to know that you're doing it. And we will be giving away some stuff.
Very nice. I didn't know about that. So
I should give this away. No, never mind.
Mission First Tactical, go show them some love. Use the code LEADHEAD, get 20% off at their website, Mission First Tactical. Seal 1, use the code LEADHEAD, get 25% off. Seal1.com. Factory 47, the official AK Korner swag t-shirts are mugs at Factory 47. Factory 47 with a K. Leadhead, get 10% off there. And then, of course, Occam Lube. Use the code LEADHEAD, all caps. You're going to get 10% off at Occam Lube and Occam Defense Solutions. Brian, what's new and exciting?
Well, we just shipped the first gun with our adjustable gas block. We've got a brand new product launch in here, and it has kind of HK. There's a bunch of folks with, multiple aperture detent gas blocks out there, and we've launched one that is Merc compatible. Actually, I think it would also be Sureshot compatible with being able to get in there. Yeah. So I think it'd work pretty well on both. It feeds in from the front. It's very AK-12 inspired. It has that same tab up front.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. So that's the big haps around here.
Ooh, I like that.
Very cool. John, what's going on at M13?
Just trying to get everything out. A lot of people, when COVID hit, they'd dust off that parts kit they had sitting on their shelf for the last 10 years and sent it over to get built. So we're just trying to, get all those cranked out. That keeps us busy all the time.
I hear you. Bill, what you guys got going on at Sureshot?
So we just launched our new 4.5 millimeter side folding M4 adapter. So that's available for purchase now, and it's already started shipping this week. We finally got some new Zastava Z-Pap rifles in. So for all the guys yelling at me, where's the Yugo? Where's the Yugo, love? Well, it's coming, guys.
Nice.
And we will be bringing in some more AK-12 Evo stocks here in the near future as well. So that's basically the Magpul Zukov, as I call it.
Cool. Very cool. And that's Sureshot USA.
Sureshot-USA.com.
Got to throw that dash in there. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Professor Paul.
Sureshot underscore.
What's going on, Student of the Gun?
Oh, Student of the Gun. The radio shows up every week, man. Mondays and Wednesdays for the public hour, and Thursdays and Fridays for the grad program. Oh man, what do we've got? Obviously, we're
Pimp Hand doing.
The Pimp Hand? That's me, man. I'm just getting prepared for the winter. We got snow here, all that good stuff. So we got the
snow. That's ridiculous.
The Patriot Fire Team book series is out. We got 3 books in the PFT series, and just don't let me forget to get you those Nicholas Orr books. We'll do that.
I got a note right here.
All right.
Gonna do it.
Send me a message.
Hey, quick plug for Paul's books. If you guys, even if you have had small unit tactics, the chair is about 1 inch from the wall. It is time to get those books while you can still get them. Get some training, get those books, read them, do it.
Yeah, we just had a PFT training camp here in Wyoming, and it was fantastic. Had a bunch of people. We went out in the BLM land. That's not Black Lives Matter. It's the other one. And just had a good time, man. Signaling and shooting and patrol tactics and rifle stuff, and it's good. So,
right.
Yeah. Studentofthegun.com for everything Student of the Gun.
Perfect. Eric, what's going on at IV Quad 8?
Well, we're getting definitely geared up to film a bunch of hunts. Fall's always a great time to get out in the woods and do some good hunting. And we actually just posted a hog hunting video. Well, we went to a ranch, one of those kind of things, which I'm not a big fan of high fence hunting. Never been a big fan of it. But sometimes to demonstrate products or to test out different guns, sometimes it's just good to do a canned hunt. And it makes it easier to film, and we can harvest some meat, get on with our day. And we shot a 600-pound boar with a PSL, 150 grain SMB, and it went all the way through both shoulders and found its way just under the hide on the opposing shoulder of the boar. A 600-pound hog killed with a 54R. And that particular barrel had been shortened to 18 inches. So it was one that it got shortened up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a full, I think it was a 29-inch barrel or some obscene thing that's on those PSLs. We shortened the barrel and added a superlative. No, it wasn't superlative. It was one of Definitive Arms gas blocks. And the adjustable gas block.
The ring.
And that gun is fantastic. You have Texas Weapon Systems dust cover, the top cover, and Arkin Optic. We're out there killing the mess out of some stuff, and that was a lot of fun. So we've been doing a lot of hunting, and also fall is a great time to get the redfish running in the pass, get down to Florida and do some good fish, get some big bull reds in the passes there in Florida. Be a lot of fun.
Do you do rod and reel meltdowns?
Well, when we crank on those giant amberjacks, you better believe it. You start getting a 100-pound reef donkey on the line.
Love me some amberjack. Boy. Yeah. Love those amberjack. Very good.
Yeah, they fight.
All right, guys. Tune in next month. It's episode 11, November. It'll be dropping the 15th. We're going to be talking competition shooting with the guys from IWI. They really tore it up at Kalash Bash. They're going to be doing Red October. And I think there's one other one that they're going to be doing. So we're going to have them on, and we're going to be talking about competition shooting with Jeremy and IWI and their group. And we'll probably have some other personalities on as well. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up. And as always, guys, make sure you tune in to all our sponsors, buy their products, use the discount codes. That's how we bring this show to you each and every month with the Talking Lead AK Korner. Until then, go out and stock up on that 7.62 .39 and 5.45 is wherever you can find it. Do it, because what's James say?
These are the good old days.
Right. The good old days now, so make it happen.
Yep.